All right, guys, we'll kick this off. We got an exciting conversation here with Tessera, and we're going to talk all things DeFi, get into introductions, and just go straight into it. So maybe we'll start off with you guys. Let's do some introductions, get some backgrounds, and then we'll talk about why Tessera.
Sure. It's very good to be here. My name is Chan An, and I'm the founder and CEO at Tessera. And we are tokenizing private assets and starting with private equity companies on Solana very soon.
Nice.
Uh, I'm Steven. I'm the CMO at Tessera. Very glad to be here.
Nice. There we go. Well, let's just get straight into it. The private markets are so gated. And to start this conversation, we've seen, the recent SpaceX situation where they're going to IPO at the record-breaking $1.5 trillion, right? It's inaccessible to most people. When you look at private markets and maybe you think about the vision of Tessera, what is that vision and what have you set out to do in the private markets?
So essentially what Tessera is, unpacking what Chan just said, is we acquire positions in massive companies before they go public, and then we tokenize those positions and put up those assets for sale to the end user of Tessera. And the percentage of the token supply you end up owning is the percentage of the cash you get at IPO. So we buy the asset, the company IPOs. Let's say we'll use SpaceX, for example, because you mentioned it. SpaceX raised at a 400 billion, then there was an 800, now they're saying 1.5. Let's say we bought at an 800 and there is $1 million of SpaceX. If you own 1% of that and then it IPOs at 1.5, we'll say 1.6 for easy math, you would be at a 2x. So you would be able to claim twice as much money as you bought into it. And it's a very simple model. I buy the token on Tessera, that company goes live, I can then burn my tokens to get the cash from that company. But the entire process in between, we provide a vehicle for those private equities to still be traded. So very simple cash out process, completely permissionless. We don't KYC the user to cash that out, and traders can take advantage of that volatility and the fact that we essentially become the oracle. We become the pricing of the secondary market.
And if you think about it, if you step back, you mentioned about the private asset, and including three of us, and in fact, everyone in this event, how many of us actually traded, even held, likes of a SpaceX? SpaceX just did the latest funding round at 800 billion, which sounds a lot. But then the next one, they're talking about IPOing at 1.5 trillion.
What's the time frame there?
Very all speculative, but as well as early as Elon Musk says go. But I think the key problem there is the question of access. Now we are hearing private companies, and I think more and more good companies are staying private and they're deciding not to go public. And there are many reasons for it, but that excludes and prevents people like us from participating in those companies. And I mean, there's good reason why you have a public market and private market. And the reason why we started Tessera is the blockchain technology is uniquely positioned to address a lot of shortcomings that is present in the TradFi world that creates this bifurcation of private company and the public company. So, and we can go into more technical details, but using the blockchain and in particular Solana, what you're trying to do is to give the users, retail and institutionals, that access to something that we have all been excluded from.
I think the question that comes to mind and probably comes to most people's minds is holder protections, right? We see people like Robinhood doing this. And I think infamously, we saw that scuffle kind of between SpaceX and Robinhood, where Robinhood offered these private shares. And I think SpaceX came on Twitter and said, whatever you own there isn't actually representative of our SpaceX shares, right? And so there's kind of that question that gets floated around where you see some people providing private companies like Robinhood and others, not going to name too many, but what makes you guys protected and a better alternative?
Okay. What you mentioned, unfortunately, is actually wrong. In that what SpaceX said is what Robinhood has done isn't endorsed or sponsored by the company itself. What Robinhood has done is legit from the legal perspective, which actually is pretty common again without SpaceX or any private companies admitting is a common thing you see in the secondary market
Yep.
place. So there was nothing wrong there, except that the users who hold exposures of the SpaceX through the Robinhood will not be in the what you call cap table or the
Gotcha.
share registry of the SpaceX.
It'll be the entity that holds that SpaceX.
Exactly, which is essentially, in nutshell, is the same approach that we take. The biggest difference between what, for example, Robinhood does and what we have done is we have actually created this structure that result in our tokens being offered permissionlessly, i.e. no KYC. And I think that is actually very, very important because ultimately you're talking about what is considered security.
Mm.
And if you simply pass through, then it becomes a token. And therefore, what Robinhood is offering to their users will be offered only to those KYC users of the Robinhood. They will not be able to take it out.
Yeah.
Which means it's excluded from all the DeFi integration. Whereas what we have done is to take a step further in a compliant way, and I can go into more details too, to create a structure whereby that product can be offered to all the DeFi and take the maximum benefit of what the blockchain can offer.
So I'd love to know this process, right? You maybe buy into SpaceX at an 800 billion valuation, you offer it on your platform. Do you guys have a spot on the cap table? You know, we've seen companies tokenizing. I think one of the biggest things is, well, I don't want a bunch of random, you know, Twitter trader degens on the cap table, you know, trying to make decisions for me. Who owns, I guess, the rights to the cap table in your case, or how does that even work?
You see, being on cap table doesn't give you anything special. You know what I mean? It's you feel good about it,
right?
You know, but that's
resume.
really it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So important thing is, do you have the legal recourse to the underlying exposures that you want to have? Now, what we are interested is economic performance of those companies. I.e., if the SpaceX is going to IPO at 1.6 or whatever trillion of dollar, then I want to be able to have my asset that is supposed to be reflecting that to actually reflect that. You know, I think that is what is important.
Sure.
And that's what we are focusing on.
To piggyback off that, your tokenization represents 100% of the cash upside of that position. It doesn't represent here's the amount of equity I'm going to be getting at the end of the day, because it's essentially a forced sell and you're given the cash value of it. And there's a lot of legal reasons for that, technical, executional. It allows us to give a user the complete upside that you're not able to get. And that's what interests me in this side of the RWA space. I like RWAs that allow me to enter a position that I can't do traditionally, right? I am a US citizen, but I'm not an accredited investor.
Yeah.
I can't easily go access these deals in the way that Tessera is able to access them, let alone, let's say I wasn't a US citizen. I would have virtually no way to access these. And so we unlock an entire market. It's a massive market. Chan can give some of the specific numbers on the secondary market, but we're like democratizing that in a sense. And there's not many RWAs today that I think are really pioneering this like complete inaccessibility that they're unlocking. And so that's why I really liked Tessera, and there's a few other companies doing similar private assets that I'm very bullish on.
And just going back, I mean, the reason why people ask about the cap table and so on is to confirm that I actually have the exposure.
Yeah.
To confirm that, you know, one way of doing it is if you see your name in the cap table, then you know that does it. It's not the most efficient way of doing it. Alternative is to have someone confirm that you have the exposures.
Yeah.
Everything Web 2 is just a lot more complicated than Web 3, and it's lacking a lot of transparency that we have. What we are trying to do is making sure we have all the process in place to be able to confirm that the token holders have the rightful ownership of the underlying exposures. So from that perspective, one thing we are making sure is instead of trying to get into the nitty-gritty details of the technicals, we have partnered with Chainlink and we will be publishing on Solana the proof of reserve,
Nice.
which means each token holder has will be directly one-to-one back to the underlying exposures. And that will be confirmed through the on-chain mechanism, Chainlink, and it will be also confirmed by the auditor as well. So I think what is important again is confirming that exposure and providing the transparency around it. Right?
That's a big partnership. Why did you choose Chainlink as an oracle rather than, maybe Pyth or other providers?
I can answer
yeah.
that. So, very good friends with a lot of people at Pyth. They actually don't provide proof of reserves.
Oh, do they not?
So
They should.
our need.
Why not?
Well, the
PMF.
demand. I've talked to some of their BD guys a bit. They have not had enough inbound demand to provide that. But Pyth is a phenomenal pricing oracle, and we actually have some products in the future that we're most likely going to use them as well. But Chainlink's proof of reserves, to our knowledge, is the best option that exists right now for our use case.
So
yeah, go on.
if you have more addition to that,
No, the other thing is also, and again, I like Pyth a lot, but one thing Chainlink does, Chainlink is actually quite interesting that because it's an oracle, but also it provides cross-chain bridging too. So the way we think, and then Tessera ultimately is an asset issuer. We're starting with the Solana, and then we love the concept of ICM, but ultimately, how do we take the concept of ICM beyond Solana? And that requires a cross-chain capability.
for sure.
And Chainlink was, from that perspective, actually is uniquely positioned, to support us.
Yeah.
And they're very keen. So yeah.
So maybe on the topic of TAM and the total addressable market here, when I think of crypto, I think the average crypto trader would love exposure to private companies. And the further back you go in terms of private company, rather than the SpaceX at $1.5 trillion, but maybe go to a startup that's just getting started here. I think the volatility is somewhat similar to what crypto offers. And I think a lot of these traders would actually really enjoy exposure to private companies for multitude of reasons, but especially, the volatility. When you think of your target audience and when you think of the TAM of what Tessera is building, can you maybe get into some numbers or who you guys are targeting and that stuff?
Yeah, big question there. So unpacking it, serviceable, addressable, total market, it kind of depends on the stage. So initially at launch, our main user base are going to be RWA users, people that really like X stocks, and then some mix of what you would call the trenches, right? Because you mentioned volatility, we are a type of product that provides somewhere between like a meme coin and an X stock, right? An X stock's primary price is coming from the traditional market. So nothing that happens in crypto is going to affect an X stock, right? Outside of an Oracle problem. And meme coins are this, you have this type of audience that wants the 20K market cap,
Right.
get rugged 10 times in a row. Eventually you hit something, right?
10X
I've
and
been
you
there.
made it.
I love that space. I play at the casino, right? Not necessarily building it. But we're somewhere in the middle, probably a little closer to X stocks, where there is typically higher risk in the private market than something that's already publicly trading.
Mhm.
And we think that because of that mix that we're in, that the trenches should still love it. They get something that's a little more sophisticated. They get something that is backed by a legitimate company, a SpaceX and OpenAI. There's a few prediction markets we're looking at. They know these companies. They like these companies. Many of them use the products of these companies, yet they get to take advantage of this potentially 2x, 3x. Some of them, you look at Figma, right? If you got into Figma's
Sure.
private rounds, you're very happy. Or even
Look at
Circle, Kalshi. I think Kalshi's recent was 12,
11.
11,
I think I
11
heard
billion.
YC got a 150K position
Yeah.
turned into 700 million or something.
So yeah, and
I
now
don't know if that's
Bitcoin.
accurate.
YC
think,
much earlier, right? But
Sure.
these are companies that can provide a level of upside that you will never get with a public equity outside of a NVIDIA that you bought publicly and you waited years, right?
Yeah.
And so this is something that over the course of a year or two, you can get you can get multiples. And so we think it's somewhere in the middle, and I'm kind of going in a circle here now, but the addressable market immediately is the RWA space and the trenches. I think what that will grow to is the size of crypto. And the reason I say that is because there is the one barrier. You need to know how to use a wallet. You need to know how to get crypto in. We'll provide some on-ramps, MoonPay. There's a bunch of other fiat providers that we're most likely going to integrate in a pretty seamless way, but there will always be that crypto barrier. So once we've addressed, okay, we've tackled Solana, everyone knows us, everyone loves us, everyone is using us as that source of secondary market, we will then figure out how do we get the traditional user in. And the person I think that fits that is sort of like the Wall Street Bets crew, right? There's some degeneracy, there's a lot of options trading, there's a lot of highs and lows. Some of them are in crypto or crypto adjacent, and they're probably the prime target market to get them to take advantage of this. And then I think waiting for crypto to mature a little bit.
Sure.
There's a certain barrier of our space has this connotation of being pump and dumpy, lots of scams, lots of large exchange exit scams. I mean, FTX feels like it happened a decade ago, but it wasn't that long ago. And so the traditional space still sees it as this, like,
Yeah.
there's some legitimacy, but there's a lot of not. And I think that us and a lot of companies will need to slowly grow with crypto and kind of change that narrative.
One thing I want to add is, I mean, we all degen, and then, you know,
Sure.
Yeah.
and then Stephen and I debate often about this as well. But how many of the meme coins that you see can be used for lending and borrowing? By definition,
Very, yeah.
exactly. Now, think about the collateral value of SpaceX that is tokenized. Now, you have a company which is currently valued at 800 billion. 6 months ago, it was at 400 billion. Go back another 6 months, it was less than 200 billion.
Wow.
You've done about 8 times in the space of a year. That is not a small growth. And you're talking about almost
Size.
$1 trillion of the size. Think about using that, holding that, and then using it as a collateral in the lending protocol. And think about the looping potential that you can have. It's not about the volatility, it's about the growth. And from that perspective, anyone degening, you know, everyone has to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Because it's an asset that is such a good material, you know, for forever looping. You know what I mean? But again, you know, I think the mindset, it needs to change a bit, and that's why we are heavily focusing on trading volume instead of just distributing the assets. That's also why the partnership with the Meteora is very, very important, because we need to make sure the liquidity is created in order for everything else to exist. You know, but yeah.
So are you guys tokenizing these and creating speculation markets like Xstock does, or is the only way to cash out at a liquidity event, I think IPO is what you guys mentioned?
These will be completely like public CAs, right? So you can
Okay.
buy this, and depending on how the market values it, you'll be able to sell into whatever asset you want on Solana prior to a liquidity event. It's not like you're purchasing these. There's some competitors that do this where you can purchase them on their site and you can't take it off site. And so it's kind of like I don't actually know if there's an underlying token there, but it's sort of like a Web 2.5 thing that enabled wallet so that you can kind of spend on it. And we're just fully letting the CA out there. So this is why you can integrate it into DeFi. This is why we're happy to have partnerships with perp markets and allow them to have perpetual futures, lending and borrowing markets, yield strategies. There's a couple different USDC lending and borrowing protocols on Solana that we're speaking with to utilize our markets within their yield strategies. So any and every DeFi protocol we plan to integrate Tessera into.
You know what's interesting too, and we got to close up here shortly. But what's interesting to me, at least, is also the arbitrage opportunities. Right? You have SpaceX going to announce this 1.5 trillion IPO. So you got in at 800 billion, and there's this tradable speculative market that you guys offer. You know, ultimately, if you're quick to the ball here, and it gets announced that they're raising 1.5 trillion, you can cash in on 2x upside pretty quick if you're paying attention, assuming the speculative market is at 800 billion. How do you guys see that? Do you think that's a benefit? Do you think the arbitrage is a bad thing? Like, how do you guys?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think that's speculation is what drives this market. And that's why we love private equity, because information doesn't exist. So you have to, it creates a lot of
due diligence,
not only due diligence, but opportunities for you to be able to take your position and then lock in and then manage your portfolio, which again isn't possible. And then just going back to what you said, even if I can convert to the private shares now, what can I do? There's very little you can do. And because we have a blockchain and because we can tokenize RWA like SpaceX, you have this opportunity to speculate on an asset that is currently inaccessible.
Guys,
Yeah.
What a fascinating conversation. We're going to wrap up here. Maybe closing thoughts. What should people be excited for? What's coming next for you guys? Let's close this off.
Yeah. Currently, we're in a pre-launch stage. We're looking ideally Q1 of 2026 to go live with some of these assets. Will be different assets than some of our competitors. And we currently have a referral model fully on chain that we share 35% of our revenue with the initial users who refer people who end up converting meaning owning the actual assets. We take a very low fee. It's a 20 BIP fee outside of the 5 BIP LP swap fee. That's done with a token extension. Basically, you can't circumvent it. So it's a very powerful referral model that regardless of where you buy it or swap it, whoever referred you gets up to 35% of our revenue.
It's big.
So it's a very compelling, I think it's one of the best referral models that exists. We took some of the best of existing models that are out there, 3-tiered structures. I'll go on. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud of our referral model right now. We're coming up on like 1,000 people that are referring users already just from word of mouth, just started tweeting. I mean, early stage, but it's growing very rapidly. So our user base is expanding. Highly recommend you checking out Tessera, TESSERA.fun. Make a code, invite people, or check out our Twitter.
Boom. Good call to action. Anything closing thoughts, Shem?
No, he covered it all. Thank you.
Great.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Children are turning into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours! There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not. The feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's great.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
What's up, boys? We're back. Chill, back with us. What's up?
GM, what's up, y'all? First off, apologies for my voice. I'm still super sick, recovering. So I might sound a little nasally, but man, it's good to be here. Hope you guys are doing well. I mean, Dom, I wanted to start out with a quick intro video. Considering, bear market vibes, just a blast from the past, huh?
Oh, I saw this, dude. Don't do it. Oh no, we got the screen right over the market cap part. One second.
And if somebody hurts you, I wanna fight, but my hand's been broken.
Restarted. Look at these market caps.
So
I mean, you can't even remember these things being this high. 4.5 bill, 2.5 bill, 5.2 bill.
The good old days.
Bro, like Bowman Brett were above $1 billion. We were above $1 billion. Giga above $1 billion. That's crazy, bro. We couldn't even get something half of
and
that.
if somebody hurts you, I wanna fight.
You guys get the gist. You guys get the gist, man. Like, we were sending these things, guys, to billions, and hundreds of millions. And I can't
Dude,
tell
that's
you when
insane.
last we've seen something sent to over 100 mil, other than Pippin, which was super random and caballed up.
Totally just crimed up.
But man, how's the day, bro? How you been? How you doing? What's the move? What's the vibes?
Dude, I'm good, man. After seeing that, it's a little sad. Like you really lose touch with how crazy things got. It got frothy, and it's crazy. We didn't even really see that bull market, but I'm good today, dude. I'm happy, feeling grateful as always. So, yeah, we got a fun
Shout out.
stream today. Polybro at 12:30, and then our man Dax from Zira at 1:15. So, got a cool little stream. We got a hard stop at 2:20 today. So. We'll rock it out for the next 2 hours or so, but we do have a hard stop. You're sick, Chill. Did you watch the Super Bowl, or were you like cooped up?
Watch the Super Bowl. Was with family. I was still sick, but I was like, I'll just try to push through. And then, bro, woke up the next day and I was like, I got worse.
Yeah.
I got worse. So, but no, I love the Super Bowl. I was seeing on TikTok that some guy put his life savings. I see Kalshi all over TikTok, by the way. Shout out their marketing department. But I saw that a ton of people were like betting on, the Super Bowl. One guy had his life savings on the Seahawks and he won. So I think he got like, 50K or something like that as
Let's
a
go,
payout.
dude. That guy is an idiot, but I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I mean, that's like if that was a trade, that would be one of those trades that literally you made a bad decision and it just so happened to play out. That's literally what it was.
So my favorite part about the Super Bowl is not the betting that you can traditionally do. It's all the extra bets. Like the over under on the national anthem. Is it going to be longer than a minute 55? I don't know if you guys make these degenerate kind of bets, but the national anthem was like a minute 55.6 or something, and we were hammering the over. Or no, it was just short. It was like a minute 54. It was like just short. I was thinking Charlie Puth, man. He was gonna just stretch the vocals, try to give a little performance. You know how they like to do it, right? Show off a little bit. He didn't, man. The first half started slow. My buddy was looking nervous because he took the under on that, and the line was fantastic, but electric. I had the Gatorade being yellow, but I didn't hammer the bet, dude. Here's my thinking. Yellow Gatorade is the most popular flavor, right? It's the most popular flavor. So what do the guys want to drink on the sideline? Well, they want to drink yellow Gatorade. So what's most likely to be dumped? It's got to be yellow, right? So I was ripping the yellow. I didn't hammer it. I was pissed. And even pre-dump, they showed them mixing the yellow. And I'm like, dude, is this like buffoonery? Is this trickery to just flip everyone out? Or are they actually going to dump this? And they dumped it. So those are my favorite type of bets, just the stupid ones. And it's really cool because Kalshi now and Polymarket, you can make all those bets. Like, are they going to say the word Taylor Swift? Are the announcers going to say the word Taylor Swift? Is Cardi B going to be on stage? You saw the guy Bro, it's crazy. One of Drake's buddies, a rapper, put 175K that neither Drake nor Cardi B would be performing at the Super Bowl because he had the insider knowledge that they weren't going to be. This guy lost $175,000 because Cardi B was a backstage dancer for the Bad Bunny concert. So the guy had insider information and lost 175K, and then publicly goes on Twitter and starts complaining about the settlement to Polymarket. So the guy insider trades, tells everyone he was insider trading, and lost 175K. It doesn't get worse. It doesn't.
Shouldn't have said anything. Hey, yo, in chat, GM top fumbler. Shout out, Josh, the main man as well. Shout out Dustfinger. Shout out my man Dustfinger. We were actually just talking. I told him, I just ended up saying, hey, look, I'll be on stream here in a couple minutes. Come check us out. Just threw it out there, casually. And he actually slid through, man. What a Chad.
Shout out everyone that's on the stream today because we had a little bug on X. We went live and the instance never showed up. So we just threw a quote tweet out there to try to get it out. But those who are in there must have seen it on the side of their profile. So the 240 of you guys, we appreciate you. Hopefully we can get some more people in. Nonetheless, we got the clips. They're gonna do numbers. So Chill sounds like a goat, but also the goat. Let me hear your
God. No.
Come on, Chill.
I don't even know how to do a goat sound, bro.
Well, you can try.
I don't even know. Oh my gosh. Please don't make me do it. Remember when we did who's that guy? Frick. I can't remember his name. Tyler the Creator. Remember when I was Tyler the Creator back in the summer last year?
We gotta ask some people if you sound like Tyler the Creator. It wouldn't be a fair competition because your voice is a little off right now. Who came up with that thesis, bro? Was it Duster? No, who was it? Oh, no. That was Kish, right?
Yeah, Kish. Yeah.
That was Kish.
Man.
Talk to me. I haven't even thought about that one in a minute. Did you see the Dom Lemon situation going on the other day?
No. I saw you were Dom Lemon.
I'm Dom Lemon, I guess. For context, we were talking about the Don Lemon thing when he got I don't know if he got arrested or what the situation was, but got in trouble a little while ago. And I started getting called Dom Lemon. So someone made a PFP with my face and a lemon on it. It was pretty good. But nonetheless, we can get into the charts.
Yeah, let's
whoa. MCG intern who could be Josh on the other side wants to clarify something. Tyler the Creator was Josh, dude. It was Josh that said that, I guess, allegedly.
That's crazy. Allegedly. That's crazy.
Okay, we'll give him his flowers. That was Josh.
Shout out him.
Still don't think it's actually accurate whatsoever, but whatever. Let's see the markets, man. Bitcoin is down, pumped a little bit. Was down like 2.5%. It's up a little bit on the day since then. Still down though. I'll let you take it away.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. As you guys can see, the title of today's stream is "The Road Ahead. How long does the bear market last?" What I saw a lot, at least when I first came in crypto, and I just completed my first cycle in crypto. I think it'll be official later on this year that I'd be here for 4 years for one cycle. So I came in crypto in November 2021, bought the Pico Schmico top. So in November this year, I would have couldn't have timed it any better myself. But yeah, in this year, later on this year, I'll complete my first full official cycle. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, the last time around, the reason why I was so pumped was because everyone was saying, no, it's not over. We're gonna push to newer highs in 2022. People are all calling for higher prices. That was the prevailing sentiment across. You talk everybody. I'm talking about global macro investors. I'm talking like regular KOLs that are popular within the crypto space, etc. YouTubers, all that good stuff. And so that's kind of what made me kind of jump in so quickly. And I wish I didn't. Because I evaporated, $20,000 that I saved up. But either way, here we are now. And I don't want to get in that same mood of that same vibe of, oh no, we're gonna pump from here. We're gonna pump. Just acquiesce, give in to the bearishness, like respect what the chart is telling you. On this is a weekly time frame, as you can see, we've dropped back into a very key range. If you remember this kind of like, let's call it 53K to 70K range on Bitcoin, we were kind of in this range all of 2024. So this is a very key range for us because we've dropped back in here and we've been accepted back into this range. And so we have to understand that this will basically, consolidate and chop sideways, right? Like we shouldn't try to, oh no, we shouldn't try to resist what the chart is telling us. This is going to take time to resolve, whether it takes, Q2 to chop around and then maybe Q3, Q4, we start taking off again. Who really knows? That's kind of my base case right now. Like we start chopping Q2. And then as we move into Q3 and Q4 later this year, that's when we actually see some expansion. But shout out this guy, Killa XBT. This was if you follow my Chad's list, I recently added him to the list a few months back. He has been, basically famously short since since May of 2025. And if you look back at this fractal that he posted, he literally got every move correct well in advance. Every move that we've made over the last 6 months, really the last 8 months, he's gotten, he's literally predicted it in this fractal that he's laid out back in May. And we're literally here. And so based on his same projections, I guess we're due
that
for a
chart's
bit of
actually
a
crazy, bro. Wait, go back to his other chart.
Yeah. This chart is actually nuts. This chart is he literally, this is May, dude, May 2025. Shout out Killa XBT. And Josh, don't be afraid to tag him in the stream notes if you're doing them. I might reach out to him to get him on the show. I'd love to. Can we delete the last arrow?
Yeah, right.
I wish, man. I hope.
Magic
I hope
erase
we
it.
can. I hope we can, man. I hope we can.
Let's get
that's-
Killa on one of these Fridays and have him revise this so we can save the market here.
I'm gonna reach out to him and see if he can revise the last one. Just for MCG. Low key, we showed this in May Kill. Yeah, we definitely did. We this is like
7 million views on this.
Yeah, dude. This guy's like, and this his most recent one here with the Head and Shoulders, that's got 1.5 mil, right?
Do you agree with him? Before we even go further, do you agree with him? Because this wick right here that we just saw down to, I mean, how low did we end up going? 67K.
60.
67K. Do you think that's a low, man? Because I think like that was capitulation, indicators blowing up red on oversold. Someone went under. We got some steep liquidations. No big news events. Like, is that the bottom? I feel like you said it's gonna range, right? That's kind of your thoughts there. So do you think we take a stab lower?
That's my base case. Maybe we slide lower to 50K. Because this is essentially the range that we've been accepted back in, 53 to 70. So I have to be open to us going to 53 at least. And at most, I have to be open to us, kind of breaching those lows, maybe wicking below them. I have to be open to it. Now,
Fumbler said
I got no choice.
It's CZ's alt account. Have you guys seen the CZ memes?
Dude,
oh my
CZ,
gosh,
man.
who's the one guy on Twitter who has like the cowboy?
I know exactly who you're talking about. It's the Fartcoin GCR.
Oh, bro, his memes about CZ are hilarious,
Centurion.
Man,
I'm about to pull up the tweet right now.
Send it lower.
The tweet right now. Yeah, dude, send it all lower. This is
Yeah. Yeah. Dip Wheeler. Okay, now buy Riddle back. Buy Riddle back. Oh, dude, it's so funny. He just does this so all the time.
Dude, this is where the tweet officially originated. Like,
now, dude,
oh my gosh, this guy's hilarious. This guy's hilarious. But if you guys don't know Dip Wheeler is he called
He's a troll.
Fartcoin back in the day, and if you watch the intro video from today, you saw that it went to billions. But yeah, shout out him. But yeah, I mean, as far as what I think, what if we hit Wyckoff accumulation from here? Right? We would technically have to have a spring test of some sort.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea if we will or not, but I told y'all my invalidation was 75K. And since then, I'm openly like changing my view, and I want to make sure that I'm changing according to not what I want, but what the market and what the charts are telling me.
Heard that.
So
yeah. I kind of am leaning towards this 59K. I said 67, bro. What am I talking about? Our low was 59K, dude. Like, yeah, I'm thinking 59K was honestly the number. But
yeah, you don't think we range here at all?
No. We might range, but here, I'll screen over real quick.
Yeah, screen to yours.
And we just got a couple minutes when we pull Polybro up, get the update. But yeah, so this is how I'm seeing it. Obviously, we've talked about this range forever. I don't know, dude. Do you think this is all, on the CZ note, do you think this is all 10-10 related, or do we just think this is
100%? 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I don't mean to, I know a lot of people on the timeline, they're like, attacking CZ, this and that. But I think ultimately, the problem with 10-10 originated with the Binance order books. And I forget exactly exactly what caused what. But I know that it originated with the Binance order books. And, the speculation that I do believe is that because we've seen this from CZ before, CZ was targeting, was it not Hyperliquid, or was it Hyperliquid?
Might have been Jeff, man. Jeffrey from Hyperliquid.
Yeah. So he was essentially targeting a competitor, and he's using what levers he has access to in order to target that competitor and try and take him out the game. And in doing that, he broke a ton of things. And I think what he did was he caused some traditional company, not crypto native, but like some TradFi company, whether they're a DAT of Bitcoin or something else. I think he blew up some companies in TradFi because of this, because of 10-10. You know what I mean? I think it's not directly his fault. It's just the after effects and the collateral damage of what came out of 10-10. So yeah, like, is this CZ related? I think so.
It's likely, man. It's the same playbook that he used for FTX and trying to take out Mr. Sam Bankman. But it would make sense, bro. Look, CZ, he's not, I guess, legally allowed to be affiliated with Binance anymore. He has his own perp exchange. I don't know if you guys remember the short Binance season he got, but what was the name of CZ's perp exchange? PerpDex.
Aster.
Yeah, but we had the Aster run. And Aster for a while was gaining some serious traction, although also probably heavily manipulated. I don't know many people that were trading on Aster, to be honest, over Hyperliquid. So, but the numbers were crazy for a little while. I'm not sure if you remember. So it's not this kind of shenanigans are not above CZ.
Yeah.
I remember someone calling 59K. That guy must be really handsome, whoever called 59K, to be honest.
Yo, there's actually a Dom Lemon out there. That to me is wild. Shout out them for the name.
Yeah, that's Crypto Jones, dude. That's actually lore right there. That's hilarious.
But yeah. So yeah, definitely related. Right now I'm looking at Base. I don't know if you guys are seeing, the API requests for Banker, but as Bitcoin here is ranging, I still think I'll hold to what I said last week. I literally said that the market kind of doesn't care about Bitcoin. Like, there's trenchers that are looking for the next like little meme coin in the in the pump fund trenches with that have no idea and no concept of why Bitcoin fell, where is it going. Some people don't even check Bitcoin price. They're just trenching. They're just in a group chat, trenching away by themselves. And so I think that there is this this demographic of traders that really don't care about Bitcoin price. They'll be trading regardless. So I think as long as Bitcoin can stabilize or range for some time, I think we do get these kind of on-chain conditions that are ideal to see some runners again. Whether the ceilings will be high on those runners, I think is a different story. But if you can catch them early enough, like the ones on base, shout out Teller. If you're in my TG, we call that at like 700K and it went to 2 mil. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's base season, it's banker season right now. I'm not sure if you saw a banker chart. Something we can get into later. Again, we gotta keep it tight today, so staying on schedule. Nonetheless, we got Polybro here. We got Dizzy from Polybro coming up to just talk shop, the move to SOAR, everything in between. So let's pull up my guy. And it looks like he's actually got his chart. Dizzy, can I share your screen here too?
Yes, you can.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, can you?
Oh no, you're good. He's good for me. I can hear him.
It's good for you.
Oh no.
Oh, I can hear him now.
Can you hear me?
Chill. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, we're good then. We're good.
Okay. What's
awesome,
up, guys?
Awesome. Well, glad to have you, man.
I got your
Welcome.
screen up. I hope that's cool before I leak it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll share something else that's new that will be live on the site later today. But this is the Polybro that everyone's known since the middle of December. Actually, is when we redid the entire app. So this is all still pretty fresh, even though this is maybe what most of everyone has seen. But yeah, I don't know if you want me to do like a little intro.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, let's just get a background on yourself, who you are, and what you guys are building over there, probably.
Yeah. Name's Dizzy. I've been in product development for a few years, working with a large agency. We make consumer apps, web applications for like enterprise companies. And I actually got into the prediction market space around the summer, right around when John Wang was posting on X before he went to Kalshi. I think when most people in crypto started noticing what prediction markets were. And the first thing I was looking at making was something similar to like a PMX, like a create your own prediction market type of system. And as I was learning more, the biggest thing that I initially saw was context for these markets, because you're going on to, Polymarket or Kalshi and you have all these questions, but I think everybody was kind of doing the same thing, plugging stuff into ChatGPT and, trying to get alpha aside from, insider trading and those kind of tools. I think there was a lot of people doing really good insider trading, wallet watching, copy trading, like poly sites, different things like that. So I tried to tackle this angle that I felt was, undervalued basically, which was research on these markets and eventually having agents to help you periodically, run research, give you updates and things like that. So that's a little bit of background on myself and what we're doing here. As of right now, we've rebranded to Probably.trade. We still have our, Polybro logo and everything. We just we're going to be not deviating away from prediction markets. We're going to keep prediction markets, but we're going to be adding to it. And I think this rebrand kind of goes with that. So we're not just, in that poly market, I guess, lane, because we're adding new markets, new exchanges, different types of assets and things like that. Basically what Polybro originally started as was a completely different look than this. It was more of like a Polymarket kind of UI with a bunch of different cards, and you could run this like detailed research. We actually, from like November to the middle of December, rebuilt the entire app. So it more so looks like a trading terminal, but we call this a research first trading terminal. So this is on the Kalshi side. You can trade here. A big reason why we've actually not been able to ungate the entire platform is Kalshi went live with DFlow like December 1st. So this is all really fresh. And then if you guys are up to date with DFlow, Kalshi, they just introduced KYC through their proof platform with DFlow, and that was just announced like last week. So we're just making sure that we're following all of the rules. This platform has to be like geo-blocked in certain areas and all that kind of stuff. Implementing this, new KYC thing that just came out. So once we have all that and we're in line with what they're requiring, this will be like ungated, but we have been giving access codes to anybody who's, asked for it on X. I'll privately DM people. A lot of people have gotten those. But yeah, essentially what this terminal is a research first terminal. So we want to put research in the places where we think it's important. I already ran some runs on this market. So this one was who will IPO before 2027. Ramp. You guys are familiar with Ramp with, I don't know if everyone here watches like TBPN and things like that, but
Yep.
I'll run like a new one, but this is what a final report looks like. So we were able to partner with one of the largest search APIs in like the world right now, and it's called Value. They actually reached out to us due to our usage when we initially started, and we were able to get like a real partnership where they're helping us with like custom tooling and all those type of things. So essentially, these reports will do a extremely detailed search. I'll do a new one so you guys can see. But basically, it does like a massive amount of like search queries. If you're familiar with like Manus was recently acquired, I think, by like Microsoft or OpenAI. Value is like a supercharged version of Manus, where it will search through like economic filings, economic data, real web search, super deep search, just all over the place. And what you get in this final report is cited, noted recommendation on the actual prediction. So it'll give you a breakdown and the reasoning behind, why, based on actual sources. You can go through and click any of these sources. This goes out to where the actual data came from. And another place that we put research, or three other places that we put it, is rules. Rules is like, I would say, one of the most important parts of prediction markets that's kind of like slept on, because markets, the way that you actually win in a prediction market is understanding the rules to a T. In Polymarket, there's a lot of drama over UMA and how they resolve markets, all of the fine print basically of a market. So this is a specialized agent that still does all of those, search queries and everything, but it's specific as like a rules lawyer, essentially. Something kind of cool down here on this one. It'll also give
Dizzy,
you like, yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but before we get into all the features, I just want to understand how you look at these markets, because when I look at traditional sports betting and gambling, I guess you could say, the real only edge you had was like buying a calling service where someone would give you their calls and you could take their bets. For this, I'm seeing a lot more platforms pop up where it's deep analytical breakdowns. It gives you all these things to have these edges. Are you looking at prediction markets more like gambling or trading? I'm just like really curious to hear the mindset here.
Yeah, I think most people now are looking at them like trading. If you see how prediction markets are being traded, a lot of things are not even for you to get to like hold your position until resolution. It's buying like an undervalued side of an asset. So I forgot the source where this was from, but something that's really big in prediction markets is this thing called sensational bias. So a lot of these questions are, aside from something like earnings, crypto, things to do with actual financial stuff, they're geared for the user to possibly like want to bet yes because of like the sensational headline, like, oh, will Trump say this? And that is like the higher upside. But I think this is an article from like real Polymarket data, but the majority of markets actually are resolving to no. So finding like a very popular Polymarket trader, I forgot his name, but he trades completely on this like sensational bias, basically finding underpriced like no scenarios where the sensational bias is too high. So I think it's leaning more towards, because of like sports betting, you're going to hold your position for the team to win, whereas in prediction markets you can sell out of a position, buying it at 10 cents and maybe selling it at 80 cents, and maybe it doesn't resolve. It's just like the narrative, and you sell it before when the narrative pushes in your direction a little bit. And I think that's more so where prediction markets are going as like price and data gets tighter and things like that.
And because of all these, real quick, Chill, and because of all these little edges, do we see like a point in time where bots just arb away all the opportunity at some point, and there's no more edge left for any of these little things or these little nuances that you find in the game?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think the platforms themselves, they have market makers, trading desks. Kalshi has like an internal trading desk, Polymarket. And these are like billion-dollar companies. So I think those like spreads for things like a bot that's trying to do like market making spread or something like that is at the end of the day probably going to be, run by the actual exchanges themselves, like Polymarket and Kalshi. But I do see a world where agents are helping users trade. You know what I mean? If it's a format like this where you're getting like periodic updates through Telegram on jobs and things like that, what's kind of cool about all of this is this whole agent meta, I guess, in like real coding has gained a lot of traction, and people, having like a open claw agent that you can talk to. It's like your personal assistant. That's something we were trying to do from the beginning with Polybro, and making, Discord channels, things like that, where you can actually get like a cron job of an agent doing something for you.
Got it. So I guess one thing, just before we get into the product itself and the rest of it, is just the approach to prediction markets. I've been kind of dabbling a little bit myself, and I definitely see where there's an edge there with the sensational bias that you mentioned, just kind of riding up a mispriced market and taking advantage of that. Now, in your view, for the average person, someone that hasn't experimented with prediction markets, perhaps they haven't even bet before, what's the best way that they can get exposure to prediction markets? Would it be kind of investing in a platform, or investing in the infrastructure, or would it be as a trader, kind of learning the game, learning the market? Do you have a view on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tough because Polymarket doesn't, or they just rolled out fees. So it's kind of tough to like gauge exactly where all of these terminals are going to be generating revenue from. There's not like a huge fee sharing thing directly with Polymarket. They do have like their builder incentives, things like that. Kalshi does have like a rebate program with DFlow based on your volume. So it's kind of tough to kind of like guarantee, I guess, where terminals are going to end up in terms of revenue. But I don't know. I would say it's a mix of both, depending on some other things that you could be looking at in prediction markets with like a platform is maybe like an agent that is like a tokenized agent that trades for you, and people can buy into that tokenized agent that basically, has a super high P&L or something like that. But I think I don't know if you guys have actually traded any of these yourselves. It's actually pretty interesting once you get into it. Like I'm actually like opening up Kalshi for the news. I'm like a Judy Shelton holder right now. And finding all the details for that kind of stuff. So it does have like a real world use case, and especially, on the earnings side of things, assets, I think once it gets more into that lane outside of these like sensational headlines, there will be more of a use case where it's like a real financialized, product where people are getting price discovery on important stuff.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out that edge myself. I guess it's just I've been starting with just what am I interested in, and then trying to expand from there. So, but you're right. Like when you actually start digging in, and you actually start trading the markets, it's just different. It's different than trading on chain. It's different than trading perps. But at the same time, you can see that there is a way to play this and to make it successful. but it's just a matter of figuring out what that looks like for you, because I feel like we're all interested in different things, different markets, different, for someone it might be politics or the weather or what Trump will say at the next news conference or what have you. But I'm really happy to hear of your perspective on that, so appreciate that. I guess now we can just kind of get into the product a little bit. I know you wanted to show us a few features and give us the rundown there.
Yeah. So this is something live behind the scenes that users can mess with an access code. We're going to be rolling out different versions of these agents, but right now this is a mentions agent. Later we'll have a sports one and politics, but basically this is like a specialized agent that you can set up on a job. Originally, or in this format, it's basically kind of like a chat agent, but essentially I just typed in Trump here. Any mention you can do, like Mr. Beast, any sort of mention market. These are all call sheet at the moment. Basically, this is going to go through all of the historical transcripts, basically set up specifically for mentions, right? Instead of just putting this into like the deep research tab where it's going to do its own sort of research. The search queries are specific for transcripts and the probability of these words actually being said. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. There's like 34 options of mentions. It's going to do these search queries in a different fashion than what's on like the normal trading terminal, but it's going through, seeing the amount of times that he's basically said this and giving you odds on these mention markets. And if you guys follow prediction markets, mention markets are the closest thing I think right now to the quick kind of like cash meme coin trading that people are used to, maybe aside from like the 15-minute markets. You can hit mention markets every single day. There's people printing on them, prediction market traders, a big one, and people just watching the mentions live. And something I'll see these mention traders talk about is, I read the transcripts, or, I'm sure they're probably putting them into ChatGPT, doing something like that. So we're just trying to build these kind of like specialized tools for these different like verticals of prediction markets that are like underserved.
My quick question to you is, I feel like I see so many of these popping up, so many different platforms that give traders an edge. Like what makes you guys stand out? I think one of the biggest things I've recommended to people that do similar things is, hey, like, just have the winningest platform, be able to post that you have a 90% trader win rate, and that's because of your edge, and like that's going to draw people in. What's that key for you guys to attracting these traders and just saying, look, this is the highest level platform you could be using. You should be using us instead of so-and-so.
I really just think it's like the depth of information. We really have gone as deep as we can on like the context side of things. These markets are not charts, right? These charts really matter nothing at all. Like a terminal for a prediction market where the chart is taking up 70% of the screen, there's no purpose for that. You're not trading this like crypto. The most important thing is the context. So I would say that we don't currently have like a win rate or anything like that, but just the fact that we are tackling it from full context first, and we don't know if that's the right thing to do. It's just what seems right, since these markets are all information markets. I think that's our edge right now in terms of like the terminal game, because a lot of things are set up to be like the axiom of prediction markets, but you can't just pattern match pump fund to prediction markets or pattern match axiom to prediction markets just because axiom worked with meme coins. You have to look at these markets in a different light.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Question on the business side too. What is your current go-to-market? Like, are you guys still fully focused on just fleshing out the product, making it seamless, smooth, sticky, or are you guys already in the process of marketing and pushing this out to people?
Yeah, so everything so far has been organic. We are going to start, we have to be like super careful with all of this stuff because the platforms themselves, I think, are very careful with where they can even market, like running ads and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we'll be doing like anything like that anytime soon, because these platforms are like sometimes getting banned in different countries and all those kind of things. But I think we're just going to tackle this from a trader perspective. We built up a great community. We are in talks with some popular traders on Kalshi, some that are not even that popular on X, but they have big P&Ls in like sports. And once we roll out like our sports agent, and if that's giving them this trader enough edge, that's something that we want to kind of hit hard on X, and just go the route of like the Web3 crypto sort of marketing. Eventually, I think once there's more clarity and kind of freedom on what you can do with prediction markets, and you're as a small company, you don't want to like be realistically just be running ads when you don't know if this stuff is like legal everywhere. Once we have like more clarity on that, I think we'll be approaching it more of like a real Web2 startup. And I think all of the popular platforms, Stand, Polysites, I think they are all doing kind of the same thing, just building their core community, whether that's Telegram, X, and growing from there. But yeah, there's some stuff we want to do in the future with like trading competitions, things like that. And we should be seeing that soon once we get the rest of this geo stuff locked in.
Got you. One last question on this front is, if you think about building a moat around your business and protecting yourself here, what is stopping someone like Kalshi or Polymarkets from creating systems similar to this that gives their people edges? Of course, we know they don't have a house edge. They make money off of trading fees. Why don't they do something like this?
Yeah, I think it's a known fact that like Polymarket is making a pro terminal, and I'm sure Kalshi is probably making some sort of pro terminal. But this is a different version of the terminal where it's not trader, I guess, what's the word, trading Axiom kind of focus like that. I think that's what a pro terminal is considered. We are a research terminal, so I haven't seen that yet. And I think that's our moat is it's kind of a weird angle, I guess. It's not, I haven't seen any other angles of people doing like a research first terminal. But I think that's really our moat, is not being like a pro terminal kind of Axiom sort of layout.
And I guess one question that I had on this, you mentioned earlier that, you kind of took some inspiration from John Wang, and I have my screen shared here, and there's just came out today, earlier this morning, Polymarket to venture into attention markets, allowing users to bet on trends and public opinion. You were kind of talking about how you can't pattern match Axiom to prediction markets, right? And we often see John Wang talk about, or he used to talk about this a lot, where prediction markets are the new meme coins. Do you see that being the direction now, especially with Polymarket kind of taking this this step towards attention markets, allowing people to bet on trends? Do you feel like that's sort of the next step for prediction markets?
Yeah, I think for prediction markets to be meme coins, all of the actual contracts just need to be a lot shorter term resolution type of market. So sports and mentions are probably the closest things to attention. A mention market is like probably the perfect example of that. Will Trump say this? But I don't know how many people actually care about that to tune in and watch all of those live streams, except for the traders who are doing this as like their full-time job. But I think if they can figure out some sort of lane to get shorter contract markets similar to what they're doing with mentions, I could see it happening. I think a platform that was doing something similar was like noise.xyz or something. And they were going to partner with Cato and also be a prediction market. So I think I could see it happening. It would just need to, I think, for the attention span of people who are used to trading meme coins, needs to be a little shorter on these dates for resolving and stuff.
And this is wild to me.
To that,
Chill, did you see this is powered by Cato?
Yeah, I saw that. Nice little pivot after X, ban after the X ban on the API. Good pivot for Kaido. Honestly, I was really surprised to see it. As a quick follow up to that, like, do you see you guys probably being like a terminal that could kind of cater to these more shorter term, quick resolution markets?
Yeah. So if you guys actually checked out my X, I have another product I'm working on with a co-founder, and we're doing a parlay engine for prediction markets. So probably is going to be the first terminal that actually takes in those markets, and it's going to be you can basically make a parlay on any prediction market, Kalshi or Polymarket. So that's what we intend to do. Any of these platforms that have, you know, pluggable infrastructure where you can take in APIs, exchange data, all that kind of stuff, we'll definitely, you know, continue adding. But I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that definitely answers. And for anyone that isn't familiar with parlays, can you just quickly explain that for us?
Yeah, basically, a parlay in sports is you're picking multiple things to happen, and if they all you have much lower odds on if, you know, those things will happen. But parlay math essentially is just multiplying these percentages by each other. So like 3 markets at 50%, you would have like a 4% chance of them all happening. If they all happen, it can result in yes. We're doing this in a much different way than the current infrastructure, where this is a tokenized asset that anybody can trade, and you as a creator can earn from. The other parlay platforms I'm seeing is basically like a maker and a single taker, which is basically like a bookie. And I don't even know if that's legal or not, but we're trying to do this fully on like a crypto standpoint, where this basically like parlay asset that you created, you can earn from. Other people can, you know, tail you and trade with you, but basically it's higher risk, higher returns with parlays.
Got it.
Question on this: is this going to be a part of like under the Polybro umbrella, or is this completely separate company here?
Yeah, there's no token, and it is like a separate entity. So we will be like partnering. So probably will be the first terminal to surface Stack markets outside of Stack. I think that's like some pretty good alpha that's being heard here first. When those do go live, we do have, I think a lot of people are interested in some form of like leverage, and we view parlays as the best form of leverage. Prediction markets themselves are inherently already leveraged, going from 0 to 100, and actually putting real liquidation type leverage doesn't really make sense on prediction markets, because even if you're right, you can get priced and liquidated out of your position just from someone putting in, you know, large orders in like in a liquid market. So yeah, we think this is the best form of leverage, and that's the alpha there that, you know, Stacks will be inside of probably once we make that infrastructure live, because this is an engine that we want to be able to, like, other front ends can plug into. You can create Stacks out of like a stand or any of these other terminals and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like
we appreciate that. Yeah, we appreciate that MCG exclusive. So shout out you for that. You know, we've been on this show. We always have founders come on, and they always leave little trinkets for us of alpha. So we appreciate it. I guess one question that I had on that was in terms of leverage, kind of liquidation leverage not being a viable, a viable tool in prediction markets. We've seen that kind of being attempted to be built out. I think I saw something about Jump Crypto getting involved with a poly market to provide liquidity. Even if like liquidity is provided on that massive of a level, do you feel like it's still, you know, just not a good option to include perps in the traditional type of perps and have to kind of switch to more parlays?
Yeah, I think for a while it will just be hard to have the like robust, like, I don't think there will be leverage on every single market they have. There will need to be really deep liquidity for there not to be gap risk and different things like that. So obviously these billion-dollar companies will figure something out. But as a new company, we're, you know, attacking the parlay from as our kind of like North Star of what we think is leverage. But yeah, to answer your question, we inherently just think that prediction markets from going from 0 to 100 is already a leverage bet, and you can actually go back to 0 just from one side being wrong, versus you know, Bitcoin can perpetually go up and go down. But yeah,
it's interesting. There are a few people, it seems like, trying to crack into the more traditional side. Like you see parlays and other forms of gambling that aren't accessible really through prediction markets yet. So it's cool to see people like yourself building out something like a parlay engine here for prediction markets. So that's super interesting. Question: how is the funding for you guys right now? What does your runway look like? Obviously, to give people some information, you guys have just migrated to SOAR recently. I can pull up that tweet. I got it somewhere. But you guys just migrated to SOAR recently. Can you walk us through the thought process there, what that migration looks like, what it means for holders, and then maybe we'll talk about funding and stuff in a second.
Yeah. So essentially, when we spoke to SOAR, the biggest thing that we have been thinking about is the benefit for token holders. And I'll just be completely candid. One thing I didn't like about being like a complete meme coin product, I guess, is basically needing to like shift what you're doing just to like match these different metas and things that come up that is not really in line with your business. And I think we see that with a lot of coins. A new thing comes out like X402 and you're adding it for no reason, basically, and it doesn't really align with your business. So what we're going to be rolling out in the future with these agents is like compute credits, different things like that. And we think that using this as like a real revenue generating business, if people are using these agents, paying for a compute to have an agent running a job similar to like an OpenClaw agent in your Telegram or something like that, a model like SOAR aligns better with that. When this project first started, we had some VC conversations, like I think in September, October, different things like that, just like inbound. And the stuff that was expressed to me is basically like, your token holders are not really benefiting. And honestly, it wasn't even very bullish when we would talk to VCs and they said, oh, you already have a token, and they see that it's like a pump token. It's not tied to anything. And your only option, I think we've seen with like Padre, when they were acquired, it was, dumped. I don't know what happened there, but I think that's right where you end up. And it just, it seems like the cleaner method if you do want to look to raise in the future with this DPR standard.
Got you. And so can you explain a little bit of what that actually means in terms of token holders having kind of rights to the IP, rights to the business? I think you have what's basically 6% of equity available to holders. Am I understanding that correctly? Yes.
I think so. We did 20%. So it's like 200 million is like the circulating supply or whatever. But essentially, from my complete understanding, and I think Tom probably has explained this better, but we have like a debt obligation to SOAR, and any sort of liquidity event like a raise or an acquisition, the funds will be distributed to, not directly from us, but through SOAR and that agreement, to the token holders and their respective amounts and things like that. So yeah, that's bullish for us that there's something in place for when those things do happen. And it also just allows us to build the product from the standpoint of like, let's just turn this into revenue generation. Let's get a liquidity event, not just, following meme trends to like keep your token alive.
So 20%, that's actually maybe one of the higher on the higher side of anything else on SOAR. So that's pretty cool to see. What does the economics of the business look like? Have you guys, are you pre-revenue? Have you guys started making revenue? How do you guys make revenue? Maybe just give us a full rundown there.
Yeah, so the platform is completely free right now. We originally were going to implement Polar as like a payment option. So we will be doing that now that we've migrated over to SOAR. That was actually like a stopping point on why we could not do anything with taking regular like fiat payments and things like that, was because of like the pump token. So now that we have this contract in place, we actually can get our Polar thing approved. Polar's like a payment subscription service. So yeah, we're pre-revenue right now. We will be rolling out different expanded features. This stuff you guys will be able to always use when it's live. There will be like a unlimited gated version, and you get a few runs free for a day. But once we start rolling out like the real agentic stuff that's useful for a long period of time, those will be where we're getting revenue from.
Interesting. So you actually kind of have a dual model here where the token is not only call it pseudo equity because, you know, we can't really call it equity right now due to legalities, but you have the equity and you also have the network effect side where you can actually use the token to get access to the network. Maybe there's burns in the future and stuff like that, but it's an interesting way to think of a token. And I appreciate that approach. What about funding? Do you guys have any funding outside of SOAR? Have you talked to VC, anything like that?
Yeah, there's no official funding on the books right now, but we have spoken to a lot of VCs over the months, end of the year, into this new year. So yeah, there's nothing official at the moment, but a lot of conversations have, been had.
Got you. And then maybe while we wrap up here, we got a couple more minutes. Can we walk through some of those features again, just high level, what features you guys offer that makes you stand out? Would love to get some clips of that going for you.
Yeah. So essentially, I don't know if am I still sharing?
Yep. I got you right now.
Okay,
Perfect.
cool. I'm going to redo this with, let's see, Anduril. But essentially, you can deep research for 3 different places. We have the main market itself up here, and this is going to go and start search queries, run it through 4 different agents. There's a planner agent, a researcher agent, and then give you a final report after they've all cross-referenced with themselves against the sources, give you a super detailed report with charts, things like that. We also have research with the rules and then also counterparty intel, which will give you hedging risks. And this is actually not just trader hedging, but it's actual institutional hedging, who could be hedging against your position in this bet. These will take a little bit to run, but once they run, you have full reports here. And I don't know how long this clip is going to be, but we also, I'll go through the mention agent again, but, oh wait, let's actually, sorry.
And maybe we'll even search this up, but just a short, again, like a one-liner for the clip's sake too. Just like high level one-liner. What is Polybro, or Probably Trade is now, I guess, the rebrand here. What is Polytrade and what do you guys offer?
Yeah, so Probably.trade is a unified trading terminal for reality markets. Right now, it's all prediction markets. We are going to be implementing some stuff with real world assets. I heard you guys pre-show talking about X stocks, things like that, and their correlations between prediction markets. Everything that's basically rooted in reality is what Probably is built for, a trading terminal for that. We're context first and research first. So we're a trading terminal that's approaching it from the aspect of you getting the most context possible for these markets that are information markets.
Sweet. How has feedback been, by the way, from early testers and users?
It's been really good. Like I said, we rolled out access codes to anybody who's asked on X. So if you want an access code, comment under the MCG post, will DM you an access code. The platform is a lot more responsive than our first V1 of this. So everything is you can actually trade Kalshi. We're adding back Polymarket trading over this next week or two. But yeah, the response has been great. I think the most important thing that people are looking forward to though is automatic agents and getting those updates through a channel like Telegram or Discord. So that's something we're working on a lot, and I think once we have that will be a big unlock for the platform, especially with this agent meta now really taking off.
Love it. Let's close off here. I'm a noob. Walk me through the platform. What can I do? What can I trade on? Give me the TLDR here.
Yeah, so you can go through, this is every single market in prediction markets. You can go through, find your category, and all the markets will be listed here. You can trade after connecting your wallet. These, for the Kalshi markets, these are through Phantom with DFlow. Once you find these are events. When you find the actual market you want to trade on, it's going to give you chart information just like you would see on a prediction market. You literally just hit deep research, hit here for rules. You can hit here for hedging intelligence, and these will run, and you can, trade based off of this information. It'll actually give you a prediction, a reasoning why, percentage, and then all of the sources for you to kind of cross-reference on why you would be making this this prediction.
There it is. Okay. Well, we appreciate this conversation. I think we really got a lot from it, and it was a pleasure talking to you, Dizzy. We'll be keeping up with Pauly, bro. Any closing thoughts for the people? Call to action. Where can they keep up with you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me on X, Dizzy XBT, and you can also follow us on probably.trade. We are going to be adding more stuff to our actual store page with artifacts and things like that. It's a little light right now. So once we, I'm a Judy holder. Once we get that stuff updated, we'll post on X. But we're pretty active on X. We follow back, DM. We did like some late migrations like Friday and Saturday night well after the time frame was done. A lot of people talk to me on Telegram. So yeah, if you want to chat, DMs are open. I'm super responsive.
Love it. Love it. We appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon, Dizzy.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it, Dizzy.
See ya.
Awesome. There we go.
Awesome.
Prediction markets, man.
Probably
they're evolving.
Probably.trade. Love it.
Any quick thoughts before we jump into Zero here?
I like it. Research first. I agree with Crypto Jones, newly named Dom Lemon. Great looking product, looks awesome, and I love we love the DRP standard, right? I think that's for me from a trading investing standpoint. I think that's what I like the most. We've even talked about this before when the bags meta first started popping off. It's like, man, like, you know, when they click to claim, they need to have like, you know, some sort of like some sort of way of making it move in the direction of ownership. I think recently we saw Soju come out and had some comments on what they're going to do around that. But I think for me, the DRP standard of it, the ownership part of it is the most the best part. But I like the product itself. We got a little alpha on the roadmap, a little MCG exclusive there. And you know, I love the direction that they're taking it. I mean, prediction markets, man, I don't know if you guys trade it, but I have been trading prediction markets a little bit these last few weeks and months, and it's hard to keep up with like all the different markets, and they don't even have mention markets, right? They don't even have mention markets on Polymarket from what I understand. So yeah, you know, love their platform, love the product, and you know, looking forward to see what they build out in the future.
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, prediction markets are becoming extremely mainstream. Like there's no way around it. You're seeing them at the Grammys, you're seeing them at you know, live games, you're seeing it through and through in pop culture. So look, someone's got to get ahead of it, and someone's going to make all the money that's going to come through it. So who's that going to be? It's kind of tough for me because we see a lot of these platforms that are popping up that are like deep analytic and research focused platforms. You know, we talked to the Grandmasters guys earlier as well, and they have a great looking platform also. So it's gonna be difficult to predict the winner, but someone's got to win. Someone's got to eat that market. So you know, could be probably.trade. That was a cool conversation, and directionally, I think very, very correct on where the market's headed.
Yeah, 100%. And it looks like DAX is ready. So I guess we can go ahead and transition into the next segment here with Zero Labs. Dax, how's it going? How you doing? Think you might be muted there.
Yep, you're muted.
Hey, how's it going?
There we go.
Good to talk to you again, man. We're glad to get some updates. I remember last time we were pretty early stages of the physical product, so I'm excited to see where we're at today. Maybe how long ago was it when we talked? Was it like 2-3 months ago? That long ago?
January, so December-ish. Yeah, 3 months. Well, coming up on 3 months at the end of February. So yeah,
love it. How's everything been going?
It has been running like everyone's hair is on fire, which is fun. We got out not only a physical proof of concept for being able to value transfer directly onto devices and kind of mint that offline token. We have also been able to, if I have one in front of me, is there a? Oh, yeah, it's right here. I actually have the scanner here, and we've actually built out physical tokens that you can read and write to. And we've actually started
way.
shipping out developer SDKs and community SDKs to members of the community who want to actually try it out. And it fully works at xeralabs.org, and you go to the wallet thing and you go to private transfer, and you can try it out. Actually, I might have crashed that contract, so I'll have to redeploy it. But that is just, like I said, mad science. We move.
Break it, fix it, break it, fix it.
Exactly. As fast as we can. And so the big thing that we have been focusing on is that components only work so well if we have online privacy, right? And doing the shielded pool thing. And so we have been running around, yelling at each other back and forth, left and center, about what the MVP should look like, how that MVP translates. It won't be perfect privacy. We're not trying to solve all privacy in version 1 Go, but we're trying to get all of those on-chain components ready and resolved. And then, putting in those extra security features and those extra privacy features, like somebody else paying for the gas or somebody else paying for, yeah, exactly. Which one is that? Is it our?
This is
Yep.
just, I don't know, you posted this like very recently on your Twitter here,
Yes.
5:20 p.m. on the 29th.
Yes. And so we've been trying to do all of that, and we did get some shielded notes working, which was cool, but those don't really work unless we actually do real deposits. So if you want to actually put my other screen up, I'm actually
Sure.
working right now on the shielded pool and the specific Merkle tree architecture for the online peer-to-peer. And we're kind of going through back and forth in development. We've put together a rather sophisticated kind of, this is the architecture that we want to get, and then getting feedback on that, both internally and externally from different engineering teams and people who are giving us feedback going, that probably won't work there. Or this is the problem you're going to run into if you do that. And so the other thing that I've been contending with at an engineering and kind of leadership level is everybody wants it all to be fixed in the first version. And I'm like, scope creep. We don't have the time, energy, or effort to fix everything all at once. We need to really focus in on the quality of the on-chain privacy. Now, just like how the old version of, I believe, Light, Arkham, one of them, they had a relayer service. That relayer service moves you kind of into running your own hardware. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put ourselves anywhere near, quote, the flow of funds. And so what we've been working on as kind of our solution to that is doing a peer-to-peer marketplace where your browser instance connects to everybody else's browser instance, and you can pay for anybody else's gas for that transaction. That way it's completely anonymized, and the community can actually make a little bit of money on that. But I wanted to show this as well. So this was one of the big things that we got out of our law team. It's one of the things that have been kind of slow and not slow with us is they did an amazing job, but because of the changes in Tornado Cash and how that case law really has been played out, we went through with our law firm Porzio and really laid out what the critical distinctions were and why they got the verdict they did, so that we can figure out how not to do that. And the big thing that our lawyers kept saying over and over and over again is don't have pieces that you own in its entirety. If you can move things to a third-party Oracle, or if you could move things to the Light protocol or Arkham or any of these other third parties who are already running infra for you, then you're not doing anything except providing a software abstraction on top of things that already exist. So you are not liable for the flow of funds. And so this is how we really make sure that we're in compliance with law, but also being able to do true absolute privacy, from the start. This document is really out of order, and everyone I've handed it to is like, you need to reorganize it. But the big takeaways were that Tornado Cash's vulnerabilities came out of the fact that they controlled 3 of the 4 critical components in their system: the user interface, the relay network, router infrastructure, and relay directory. So most significantly, their router sat directly in the flow of funds, meaning user transactions always pass through something that Tornado Cash controlled. We have been trying to move that to a peer-to-peer system, or off of us having to build that component in its entirety at all. And by doing that, we can make sure that we're going to operate for a long time and in legal compliance with all the different jurisdictions. The other half of that has been, I think we mentioned in the back, is OFAC, which is figuring out, we can't let this service run in, North Korea because it's a US-based product, stuff like that, and geofencing off the product. But so we have been,
Dax, you're moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. There's a lot of jargon, a lot of names being thrown around. We need to take this back. Okay, so we got about 1,300 people in here listening to you, some of which are on the Asset Dash account. Some of them are Zero supporters who are always come strong. Some of them are MSCG. We gotta start at the top, just for people that missed the first one, guys. If you want to watch the full first interview we had, Dax, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter, it's wherever you like to view stuff. But high level overview, what is Zera? What are you building? Let's loop people in real quick before we get a little deeper.
Yeah, so Zera really didn't start as a startup or kind of any spec. It started as my own PhD research and into zero knowledge proofs, cash, and privacy. And I wanted to really bring the cash-like modality into the crypto world, being able to actually hand someone some cash or something like that was truly anonymous and private. And so kind of the core research centered around privacy preserving frameworks that combined group theory and math and all the different pieces. But then I did something kind of incredibly stupid, but also perfectly on brand for me, which is I threw a token on Pump Fund just to try out the Launchpad, and people figured out that I had bridged from my MetaMask account and that I was a dev at MetaMask, and they all went, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I went, "Oh, well, this is the current research I'm doing." And everyone went, "You need to turn it into a company. You need to turn it into a project." And we started doing that while I worked at Foundry. I was running one of the biggest Bitcoin mining farms out in West Texas. And that was fun, but it was a 9 to 5. So I was like, I really want to get back into engineering. I'm going to do my PhD. And eventually the coin just kept going up and up and up. Then I went, oh, okay. And by 20 or 30 million, I went, okay, maybe I should quit my day job and do this full time. Yeah. And that's what we did. And we went through a whole migration phase and moving over to Meteora Pool so that we could collect fees, so that we could actually fund and build stuff. And that kind of migration, I believe, was kind of the last time we talked. And now, if you notice, we're not only post-migration and actually building things and have physical products out, we have our own office. We have like a mad science lab, which I don't think you guys have seen yet.
No, we definitely haven't. But I was about to say, this is new location. Last time we had you in like a cafe. So
yeah, I think it was the So actually, I think our last interview was, I was out in Dallas for North American Blockchain Conference and meeting with members of the New Texas Stock Exchange, because we were actually working with them as well. So we have actually a 3D print lab here, so we can build and issue our own debit cards and tokens for the physical hardware. We have our gnarly whiteboard and our mad science lab.
Leak the alpha.
Yeah, exactly. And so we actually do community days as well. So any member of the community who wants to come in, play with things, try things out is more than welcome to. What's up? Thank you.
Yes. And I guess the question that I had as well, when you were out there, when we last interviewed you, you also mentioned that you were hard at work on the legislative side because there are a lot of laws, a lot of things that need to be changed and updated. How has that been going? Because I know that was the first and foremost thing to kind of get past, to then kind of bridge the, lay the groundwork for what you're building in the future.
Yeah, so it's actually gone really great. Our partnership with the Texas Blockchain Council has moved us really, really far forward. We not only got language included in the Texas Blockchain Bill about the Advisory Council and the 20 million that Texas is putting into Bitcoin, but we also are, and I'm excited, I don't know, let me check the Slack real quick, if I'm allowed to say that yet. Yes, we actually have the current head of the Texas Blockchain Council is stepping down to run and serve on that advisory board to actually manage those funds and to help shape future legislation. In addition to that, kind of the other side of that was retaining a really good law firm, Porzio, which has been an amazing decision because they have not only provided us with really, really amazing backing in terms of this is how you should build out your company. This is how the tax legislation is going to work in crypto, and all these different pieces as well. Just the networking as well. We got to go out to the Porzio conference in Puerto Rico earlier this year. So we actually met with with Brock, one of the co-founders of Tether, as well as Taryn Pfizer and a few other people, which was really cool to be working with the Tether guys on stablecoin and looking at integrating that into our protocol as well. And so just our law firm has knocked it out of the park. Like I said, how we kind of jumped right into that legal analysis was the other component of that legislation piece, was also making sure that we're in compliance with the laws that are already on the books and how they're being currently interpreted by judges. And so we've been working on it from both sides, which has been a really interesting challenge, because every time our lawyers come back with, you can't do it that way, it means we have to rewrite something that we just built, or a demo that we just thought we were about to release, or some internal tool. We're like, oh shit, which has been an interesting process, but we have really, really nailed down, especially with this document here, exactly what our architectural principles are going to be going forward and how we're doing that. And so with that, and with kind of the feedback system that we've established both internally and with external third-party developers and people who just are giving us feedback on our approaches, has let us move forward, jump over some big potholes, and really get to moving that on-chain privacy peer-to-peer to be that next big step that we want to release. In addition to that, we have some really, really exciting news, which is that in talking here in the office in the Dallas area, it's a big medical city, and quite a few doctors share our co-working space. And Zera Labs is also opening Zera Medical to use zero-knowledge proofs for medical research studies in order to secure patient records and stuff like that. So we actually have, and the gentleman you saw over there has volunteered to come on. He's a former member of, I believe, SMU, and worked with the National Science Foundation to build grants. And so he has come on to build out Zera Medical as kind of our secondary revenue stream, as well as applications for all of the tech that we're already building for the finance side. And what we're doing at Zera Labs can have secondary applications to help people all over the world, not just protect your money and your privacy. And in doing that, he'll be able to pull in secondary grants, investors, things of that nature. So we're not entirely dependent just on token price and stuff like that. So we're making sure that we... Go ahead.
That's a really interesting vertical. Is this breaking exclusive news, or has this been announced already?
This is breaking.
Love it.
Wow.
So the thing about the zero knowledge proofs going into medical is, or maybe you can explain the importance of it, because obviously you can't be leaking and talking about all these people's medical records, history, names, all that information is very private. What kind of led you to go in this direction? Because it's a very interesting vertical, very different from finance.
Yeah, it wasn't that we're going in a different direction at all. It's that one, Ian, the gentleman over there, kind of approached us about it, as well as both the doctors in our office and without. And on personal side, I have a new boyfriend, and he's actually a doctor. He wanted to use our zero knowledge proofs for his triple blind study that he has coming up that he wanted to plan. And so just in doing that and talking kind of casually, we realized, holy cow, there's a lot of money in medical, and they're kind of just throwing it at everybody right now. And so if it doesn't distract or detract from the core mission of engineering, volunteers and members of the team like Ian are here to kind of sort that out and feel out that part of the market without, distracting us from our core mission of financial freedom and privacy, both on-chain and off-chain.
Well, this is a huge announcement. Can we get into like a bit of the numbers, if you have those on hand, on like the medical industry, the TAM of this market? Just any information you have there that can understand the economics a little bit better.
Yeah. So the question, Ian, was, can we get a little bit of information on numbers, market share, what it looks like, what funding might take the shape of and form of in terms of what we'd be eligible for? And let me know if you can hear him.
Hello, everybody.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's a little difficult to put exact numbers to it, because in the healthcare space, you are ranging everything from small private practices, clinics, and things where you have individual doctors funding little things. You have PhD researchers who have very limited financing and resources, all the way up to the insurance companies and the HRS systems, which print money. So depending on which markets are directly applicable for these types of zero knowledge proofs, which have the potential to revolutionize, like in the financial area, end-to-end privacy and transactions, medical records, personnel records, all of the insurance claims, all of the privacy. There is a huge issue, and there is a fundamental tension between security and compliance within the healthcare space. And so the more things you make things secure, the more difficult it is for that information to be shared between who it needs to be shared with. On the flip side, compliance is your minimum legal requirement to secure things. And doing that does not necessarily make that actually secure in practice. And so if you'll look at the news, there has been recent things that show you what happens when you don't have secured patient records. And so because that can vary from everything from financial records all the way up to complete biometrics for a person, it is incredibly sensitive information, but it also needs to be shared and accounted for. The use of these zero knowledge proofs and building a security architecture that doesn't interfere with, but lays on top of and provides a way of validating patient information without ever actually revealing the sensitive information itself, has a tremendous number of applications in a lot of different healthcare aspects. And that is what Zero Medical is going to try to explore, because it does have applications in pharmacy and laboratories and clinics, hospital networks, the insurance companies, other healthcare startups, government agencies like the CDC and the NIH, anybody who deals with public health information or records, and of course, all of the ERMs. So your Epics, your Aethers, your MedTech, Praxis, all of those are going to
And that fancy acronym he threw out would be like the medical billing software, essentially.
Yeah, everybody who talks, there's an entire industry between the insurance, who doesn't want to pay everybody, and the doctors who want to help everybody. And there's an entire system in between that makes a lot of money talking between the two of them. And so they are all of the healthcare record processors and the payment processors.
So real quick, we did get a question on how will this affect the token. If anything, it will bolster it. The additional funding that we get for Zero Medical, if any at all, in exploring these opportunities or these these applications for it, we can use to directly fund and thicken the liquidity pool directly with cash infusions, as well as announce secondary product lines and things of that nature. So there's absolutely strong confidence in making sure that not only does the company have capital and funds to continue operating and doing research, but that we can make sure that our holders and that the token supply is always stable and growing.
Yeah, and you know what? Since this is not our area, medical is not our area of expertise, and I would imagine most of the viewers aren't, proficient in this. Can I ask what the current system is for, medical records that are keeping this sensitive data anonymized? Like, is there something in place?
Oh,
he's getting excited. He's getting excited.
Okay, so sit in the fancy chair.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'm getting a lecture. You asked for it.
I'm gonna walk you through a couple of problems. Okay, so say I am a researcher, right? And I'm doing a wide-scale healthcare study. I need to know the effects of this pollutant or this blood pressure medication over a very large population, right? How do I get access to all of the patient records there, right?
I have no idea.
So there's a lot of processes in place. And so sometimes you will be asked to disclose your medical records for like research purposes. It's a little box you can tick. Sometimes if you're doing it as part of a clinical trial, that information will be saved for future purposes. You have to sign off on all of these as well. There are large scale organizations like the CDC and the NIH, the government organizations, which one of the reasons we fund those is for them to be able to track this information over huge populations. And everybody who is getting and receiving government money, grants, all of that has that information. And so it's not like they can just put their medical records out. There's a lot of steps in place to make sure that medical information stays private. And so all of this falls under HIPAA compliance. So you'll hear that a lot. And so that's healthcare information privacy enforcement. And that is going to be regarding how your medical records are kept, maintained, and shared. Needless to say, it's a very complicated process. There's a lot of liabilities involved. And what this potentially addresses is being able to anonymize patient information while still having access to the actual information that is needed. And so instead of having your personal identified information, so your medical records, instead there are proofs that show, hey, we know that this information is valid, and we know that it comes from these patient populations, but the actual healthcare records themselves are never actually revealed. So that has the potential to revolutionize public medicine. It has a lot of implications for being able to do everything from drug studies to health studies. You have the potential of, if this becomes a industry-wide security protocol, of being able to do validated patient records without ever revealing patient privacy.
This is fascinating. And, you know, it seems like you're obviously passionate about this. You understand this field. What do the economics look like? Because you talked about there's funding over here. There's a ton of money some places. Like, how do you guys, I guess, make money from this at the end of the day?
I'll put it this way. There are some security architectures that are in place that are sold by companies that cost $50,000 per patient.
Oh my gosh.
Like that is the type of, like, it is a multi-$100 billion business. You look at how much revenue the insurance companies are dragging in and think of how much they are spending on their IT and their security infrastructure.
Jeez.
And now apply that to hospital networks, apply that to government agencies, apply that to the pharmaceutical companies that also have to keep confidentiality and are trying to secure all of their records, not just because they have to, but because of their competitors as well. And so it silos and it locks down a lot of research and a lot of information because it can't be effectively shared. Another example of this is I was recently talking to a PhD who is doing oncology research, so brain cancer studies, and they had to physically ship hard drives of patient records from one lab to another because they had no other way to securely move records.
So wait, if they would have sent this over the internet, there was compromise.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's under HIPAA.
Yeah, it's under HIPAA. You cannot send those records.
Oh, that's so unproductive.
It's so unproductive. And also, that's still a huge legal question there because, like, that's a huge no-no. But also, like, literally, how am I supposed to get these thousands of, you know, MRI scans from one lab to another?
Yeah.
And so what if you could securely actually move patient information from one place to another without ever compromising it?
So basically, what you guys are doing, to summarize, the way I'm just kind of contextualizing it, you're a Bitcoin for information. Like Bitcoin, you kind of unlocked this whole movement of money throughout the world without having to have these gold bars. But you know what you guys are creating is an industry standard, or what could be an industry standard piece of technology that would allow for people to be compliant and to be secure at the same time, which is an industry-wide problem. and that will allow them to move not money but information, documents, patient records from one place to another easily. So you're eliminating costs, you're driving up productivity, you're decreasing the time it takes to for these studies to be completed. So you're really unlocking this is a net positive for the entire health and the entire health industry. This can really push things forward in a big way. That's massive.
And it actually feeds into what we're doing at the core of Zero Labs as well, because one of the things we got as feedback from the lawyers, right, was that the other big mistake that Tornado Cash was making was that they only moved money. By opening up our protocol to support any arbitrary data type, so Sol, ETH, a text message, a small image, anything can be shared anonymously through essentially the shielded pool, or however you do it with the UTXO system with the zero knowledge proofs, which we've seen work before. By just supporting more than just financial transactions at the base level, we're already building in future proofing for medical applications, but it also, again, brings us back into compliance that we are more like Tor and less like Tornado Cash. We are an information sharing layer, and we are a token sharing layer rather than a purely financial tool.
I mean, ZK proofs in general are just so powerful. You've focused on unlocking it in a financial aspect. You've focused on unlocking it in a medical records aspect. So you found these gaps in these markets, and you're providing the solution. Like, are there other industries you're interested in branching out on? Or are you guys just really focused right now in this, and like that's your bread and butter?
So bread and butter in the core of Zero Labs has and will always be cryptocurrency, and eventually we want to move to anything Turing complete. So getting the banks to do zero knowledge proofs, getting the debit card and credit card companies to do zero knowledge proofs would be something the long-term vision is. So we haven't ever changed that, but this one just really likes healthcare, and so he wanted to come in and help and really figure that out, and it's important to me as well.
Also,
so how does
education? Yeah.
So how does all of this that you're building with the medical side of it, how does that all feed back to Zero Labs overall? How does I see a question in the chat if you want to put
sure I'll even read it. It's from Gragius. Oh geez. Okay, he said, how does this
gorgeous.
Oh, come on, dude. Oops. He said, how does this decrease in price in the Zero token affect the decision branch into Zero Medical? I think so. He's correlating the token drop in price to how this affects your decision. I have loved the idea of Zero, but don't think we should focus on privacy Don't we think we should focus on privacy mainnet before doing this? So I guess he's asking, hey, why are we branching out right now instead of focusing on mainnet first and then working on this?
So we haven't changed anything. It's just that the solutions that we're coming up with mainnet, we're realizing apply other places. And effectively, Ian works on contingency. So he gets paid when he brings in a deal for Zero Medical. And so we're not necessarily changing focus or shifting focus at all. Essentially, we can write the software for mainnet, turn around, change the label on it, and hand it over to Ian to go sell to a hospital. And the hospital can turn around and write us a check for 10, 20 million. And we can use that to reinforce the token price, bring it back into Zero Labs. There's a lot of tax things we can do with that to obviously boon the price of the token, stuff of that nature. And so Ian is a nice person who had the time, energy, and effort and loves Zera to make that opportunity possible. So again, Zero Labs, no one on the core team has shifted their attention or focus away from launching on mainnet in any way, shape, or form. Ian's just here to go, oh, that thing you built that might not have worked in here, it'll work over here. I'll go turn around and sell it for you. Or the thing that we release on mainnet does work for this, and we're going to go take it over here as well. And so again, we haven't shifted or moved any personnel over to that in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, if anything, if it's an extra thing we can do for free to help people and make a shit ton more money, I think it makes sense to do.
So I
Wow,
got a
so
question on that for Ian actually. You have this product and you have the solution. What's the go to market here? It seems like this is Ian's ballpark, so I'd love to hear that.
So what I've actually been doing in the last couple of weeks is week and a half, I should say, has been market research and seeing where this is most applicable. And so there's a couple of different strategies. There are some healthcare accelerator programs that throw money at ideas like that we're going to try to be involved with as Zera Medical, which separates liabilities and coverages. So it also protects Zera Labs from the strings that come attached with some of the healthcare financing and rules that are associated with that. But it also opens up incubators and other people and venture capitalists who want to get in on this type of potentially transformative initiative. Private practices, if you look at, all right, who here's been to an ophthalmologist recently?
I have been staring at computers too long, and now I need readers.
Yeah, all of those do not exist in the healthcare infrastructure. They are separate and do not have the support of large hospital networks and other things. So there are some of those offices that made the switch to paper to digital in the last year.
Oof.
And they are not worried about Web3 security, and they are still having to fax patient records out. And so dental clinics, the entire paramedical field, veterinarians, literally private practices, the nurses at insert company or school who are dealing with patient and student records. The applications for this are truly industry spanning and then some. And so whether we are approaching clinics or whether we are approaching researchers or whether we are approaching hospital systems, it's all going to be a question of scaling and how do we make this product work for their pain points. And that's where the real marketing aspect of this comes in, and the marketing aspect, because for a doctor in his 60s, he does not want to have to deal with this. He wants a little black box that he can plug into a computer and that a nurse can deal with and that he never has to think about again. For a hospital network, they are going to have $1 million lawyers involved, and it's going to be years of negotiation before $100 million checks get cut. But because of the sheer scale and the variety of customers in this, there are people we can immediately start selling to, and there are long-term goals like the insurance provider.
That is the whale of all whales, because insurance is just a license to print money.
They will just pay $1 billion to license a piece of software because they do.
And they have, yeah. But yeah, to bring it back again, and just to be clear, we have not changed or left anything that we're doing with Zera Labs. And in fact, because we do want to hit mainnet here really shortly, I want to talk a little bit, if we still have the time, about the walls we've hit, because development process and the iterative process is hard. We tried to ship my thesis directly and kind of hit the wall of RPC metadata leaks, solvency bugs. If we didn't bind the deposit amounts directly to the commitment with a proof, someone could deposit one thing and then later pull out 500K. And so, because the chain never actually checked what was committed in the first place. And so figuring out how we encrypt and store those values is another thing that we've run into. And the big thing, which again, this demo that I've been doing, we moved to a dedicated tree versus a shared or rotating tree, because the existing protocols that exist within Solana that we can use like a shared tree structure, and that was not going to work. And so we ran into a couple of weeks of just bashing our heads into that problem. And now we've solved that problem with our anonymity set and with how we're doing our Merkle trees, which actually, again, you can see here, we got it working. And we're doing our own demos now for this internally. And the next thing we have to add is actually deposits and withdrawals. And then from there, we want to move on. So the what we're scoping for mainnet is not to solve privacy forever, but to ship zero knowledge proof verified primitives that are actually useful on Solana and provide the base level privacy that we want to see in order to iterate from there. And so we want to bring to fruition the commitments we made to the community in steps, because obviously trying to solve everything at once. And how do you eat a whale? One bite at a time. And so making sure that we can solve each piece iteratively is a really big change in the direction that we're going, so that we can release piecemeal what everybody wants. In addition to that, we have some secondary research into the cold wallets that we talked about, stuff like that, using things like AWS Sidewalk. So being able to even send offline anonymously through a mesh network. We've tested with Meshtastic, so you can use little tiny radios to send the actual offline proofs that we've generated for these things. They fit in the radio broadcast, and you can anonymously, without the internet, send this to someone 10, 20 miles away. But in addition to that, Amazon owns something called Sidewalk because they bought the Ring doorbells. So you can actually bounce your anonymous transactions off of all of the doorbells in your area and things of that nature. And so those are just things that we've looked at and figured out, our proofs are small enough, they fit, and this would be a really good use case that once we can get, again, online peer-to-peer solved, we can be adding feature sets like that.
Can you real quick, tell me what I'm looking at there exactly with the coin and with what is this? Conceptualize it for someone smooth brain like myself.
Yeah. So the thing we did release at zerolabs.org on the wallet button is you're able to mint it. We also have a desktop app. So you can actually plug in a scanner like this, and the commitment that you made from the website, which was a deposit of value, right? 10, 20 USDC, whatever it was, can actually be physically written to this via our desktop app, or even to a card. And we're actually hoping we have a really killer designer who's going to do a first round of almost like debit card type things to be able to read and write to these. So you can actually physically, write your crypto onto one of these and mail it to someone, or write your crypto onto this and physically hand it to somebody and have that transfer of value.
That's super cool. I've never seen something like that.
Yeah. We had our first round of developer SDK sets or community sets go out. There's actually a shop on our site right now. It's closed because we already sold out of the first 100 or so, and we actually have to hand make each one individually as well. But yes, as we open up our next round of stuff, we want more developers, more community members to be involved and to just buy them, because we're selling them at cost and producing them and taking feedback as we build this out to really, again, once we have the total online privacy solved, we can do these offline transfers through that layer and have complete end-to-end privacy and offline cash.
Can the scanner be on the phone? It seems like that would be a very easy way to just do it. Crypto Jones mission.
We've been trying to figure that out, but that is one of the harder problems to solve, because just to be frank, Apple's an asshole, and they do not provide the whole software interface. Like, you're physically not allowed to write code to talk to the entirety of the antenna in iPhones, and even to do that in Android, it's somewhat of a hacky workaround, but Android is based on Linux, so you can always hacky work around that. But for Apple, they have kind of fucked us in that regard. So that's why we're looking at the mesh network stuff. That's why we're looking at Bluetooth or local Wi-Fi transfer, because specifically the tap to pay antenna in iPhones, if I have my phone right here, when you go to do a tap to pay, right? That antenna, that physical antenna, is different from the Wi-Fi antenna, the Bluetooth antenna, and the 5G cell service. And so that's why we're able to fit these in the Meshtastic, right? So this connects via Bluetooth to this, and this is a physically small radio that operates on a band that is not the internet, that is not anything that is traceable, and it will be able to broadcast those transactions in an encrypted manner to another party, say his phone. And so the app will be able to pick it up through that. But unless they're Intel, we can get Apple to change their ways or build our own devices, which we've looked at doing. That's not necessarily something we can do, but absolutely building out mobile apps for this is on the roadmap, so that it may not be directly tap to pay, because that is a really complicated protocol that involves everything from Visa to MasterCard to Apple to kind of all have a working group together to decide this is the protocol and this is how the protocol works. Kind of like how TCP and IP, right? Everyone got together in the 70s and decided this is how IP addresses work. And it's not because the software is magical. It's just like blockchain. Everything runs on consensus. The internet IP only works is because every computer in the world agrees that IP works this way. And so trying to do that with the tap to pay standard is going to be a long, hard fought battle. But there are absolutely mobile apps and things in the roadmap in that respect that we're definitely planning on releasing.
Got it. So
yeah,
we're coming to a close here, but we have two questions for you before we close this up. The first, I saw Meteora kind of tweeting out about you guys a bit. Is there a relationship there? Any comment on that?
I have been heads down engineering, and I will apologize. We should probably be on X a little bit more. There is no formal relationship, but there's absolutely a healthy respect, at least on my end, for the engineering team and the people who work at Meteora. I think they are wonderful, hardworking, and very, very smart people who have been nothing but kind in answering questions or guiding us when we run into pool trouble, and their whole software layer. So I wouldn't say there's necessarily a formal business relationship, but I have nothing but the highest respect for the engineers and the people there. And so if they're saying things good, bad, or ugly about us, I'd love to hear about it and read some more about it.
Good things.
Good things. Cool.
It looks like we had a question come in chat before my last one from Random Guy. How will the fee structure look like for mainnet, and is there a marketing campaign plan to promote?
Okay, so this is actually a really fun one because this goes back to the legal analysis, right? And so the legal analysis kind of found that the other thing that Tornado Cash was doing was charging fees on everything, right? And so that was either at the smart contract level or whatever else. So we're planning on not having fees at the smart contract level. Essentially, what we are going to do is open source the ability to talk to the contract, all the primitives, all that stuff. So if you want to write your own software to talk to our essentially anonymity layer, our protocol, you can, and we want to open source that and support other developers in that endeavor. But if you are just a normal user, you can go to our website and use that. But the website interface will be the thing which charges fees. And that's actually really similar to, I bet a bunch of our viewers know about Zelle. So Zelle is not the money transmitter. The bank is the money transmitter, and Zelle still charges you a fee. But Zelle is charging you a fee because you're using their app interface to talk to your bank and send it to somebody else's bank. But the whole transaction system is occurring between two different banks. But because Zelle is just providing the software layer, they're allowed to charge as many fees as they want. And so that's what we've decided to do, is essentially make the protocol at the protocol level, at the code level, as free and open as we possibly can. And the convenience of clicking our buttons, the really pretty buttons that we're going to make this easy for traders and normal people and for grandma and grandpa, we'll be able to put a fee on that layer. But again, it won't stop anyone from building out their own fee structure if they want to, or building out their own interface.
Awesome.
Got you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I guess the last question that I had on my end, you guys have basically opened up a new vertical. We talked a lot about the medical side and what you guys are doing there. We talked about some of the physical, like hardware pieces that you guys have with the radio, with the coin. So, I mean, as we reflect on all that, looking out into the future, like what are you most excited about? What are you guys working on that you'd like to leave the community with?
That's sooner rather than later. And like I said, my last spaces, I'm hoping is a matter of weeks, not months, is the full kind of first version of online peer-to-peer anonymity, so that we can make sure that we have that shielded pool ready and working for people who want to, who may not, feel the need to do like our whole offline token thing. But if you need to, move money from point A to point B, and you don't want everybody to do chain analysis on what you're doing, being able to provide that service at a reasonable cost and build out that UI, UX, and those contracts is really the core thing that we are focused on with the community. And that's the other thing that I want to get excited about, is that we're going to push a lot more with marketing with Ian here. We're going to be able to focus in on that, and I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams and speaking with the community a lot more going forward, because building it piecemeal will let us, make those iterative decisions and talk about the lessons we've learned and how we can build things better and get that feedback.
Love it.
Awesome.
Quick introspective question before we wrap here. We see the rise and emergence of AI agents, Clawbot, agents talking amongst each other on things like, MoltX or Moltbook or whatever it is, agent communications. The big question that comes up is privacy. I don't want these agents that have access to my entire computers and stuff to leak something personal, leak something private. Is that a vertical you guys will explore, zero knowledge proofs for AI agents to allow them to transact and use things and do all their stuff?
I think Arkham has been touching on that a little bit, but absolutely. So zero knowledge proofs, again, just a quick history, comes out of the 80s and 90s from something called verifiable computing. And so verifying that the AI agent is not sniffing at all of your data or exfiltrating it and sending it to, OpenAI or Google is absolutely something reasonable and even, I would say, I don't want to say easy, but I would say not out of the realm of exceptionally hard. So it's absolutely something that can be built. And I think that if we don't get into it in time, that somebody else absolutely should and will. And that I've seen a couple of things like that. But one of the best things that I've seen, believe it or not, actually came out of Apple. And it's their federated on-device learning, which does use not zero knowledge proofs, but a form of verifiable computing, so that when Siri learns your voice, all of that training and all of the data actually only exists on that physical device. And essentially, it's not quite a zero knowledge proof, it's something different, but when they need to verify or validate something, they can essentially send off a zero knowledge proof of the voice print or whatever else. So again, your data never leaves your phone, but Apple's iCloud has operated that way for several years now, believe it or not.
Sweet. Last question I have here. Melly says, if the token's price and liquidity fail to reflect tangible progress in revenue, sticking with the token makes a little sense. Practically one, when you're closing 10 and $20 million commercial deals. Am I missing something? I think my question on that would be, have you guys considered a debt obligation equity-esque model, something like this, where the growth is directly tied to tangible business metrics, growth, deals, etc.?
No, absolutely. That has been the core decision for that, but we want to see if it's even viable first, which is why we're sending Ian out there kind of on a volunteer basis to figure that out for us. But if we do have a deal, absolutely, as part of that contingency of that deal will be a reflection of either the company must buy some Zera token, or it'll come to the understanding that a cash portion of that deal will be dedicated directly to the liquidity pool. Or like you said, any one of those other options is there. But those are kind of the quick and dirty ones for figuring out, making sure that even in the early days, if we're getting a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 deal, that the token price is instantly reflects that success.
Sweet. We covered a ton today. Dax, we appreciate you coming on and giving an update. We will continue to follow what you guys are building at Zera. We're excited for the future, and we're excited for zero knowledge proofs and privacy in general, just being everyone's right. So we appreciate you coming on, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds good.
Peace, Dax.
Peace.
Thanks, Dax. Talk soon.
Awesome. That was a banger. Yeah. That's pretty crazy, the medical vertical.
Yeah, y'all know I got the healthcare background, so I was really interested on that side of things. And I mean, dude, they're right. Insurance, the medical side from a funding perspective that's just that's open. That's open. And if you have something that's worth anything, the medical entities will, they'll eat that up. They'll throw money at you. And it's so wide, right? You have doctors' offices, you have hospitals, you have researchers, you have university, that. Just the industry is really big. It goes beyond just an individual doctor's office or even an individual state or city. That's a huge industry to open yourself up to. So.
Well,
awesome.
boys, we got 20 minutes. We have a hard stop today, so chill. I'm gonna let you rattle off some of the stuff you have. I have some stuff to cover too. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick, but In the meantime, I'll let you shoot from the hip.
Yep, yep. Let me share my screen first.
Got you.
Perfect. I'm gonna just put this NVIDIA chart up for a second. But all right, guys. So let's get into some things real quick. Let's look first at let's revisit GSD real quick. So the other day, I think the dev, he basically posted a thing on Twitter where he called the GSD token a meme coin. And we had this set up on the chart, this kind of inverse head and shoulders. It looked really good. Setup looked really clean, to be honest, but it just didn't play out because of this tweet that he put out. And I guess the market didn't like that he called it a meme coin. So it's back to the age-old question of what's the token, why do we hold the token, which is literally why the show exists. It's like literally ownership, right? And we recently saw that Soju came out and he mentioned that they're going to be working with Bags to basically have like these ownership components attached. So as soon as someone hits like claim, as soon as someone claims the fees, there's a notice and there's infrastructure around that being initiating an ownership token for that particular project or that particular token. So regardless, looks like we're up, about 2x off the bottom here. We bottomed at like 600K on GSD, and now we're headed back up. I want to see what the market does with this one and like how the views evolve around these Bags tokens. But yeah, definitely wanted to cover that one. Let's look real quick. Let's look, check in with Loria, see how Loria is doing. This is the Andy Ayev token. And this one is at an interesting level, the 0.786. It's respected that we are back in, a range that we established from before. If you noticed here, this range is kind of back in play. This range here is kind of back in play. Rough charting there, but that's essentially what we're looking at with Loria. So not a bad entry. Honestly, still think that this could pull some numbers. So if this is a place to enter, or if I'm trading this chart, this would be a place to enter for me. Drop any tickers you guys want us to look at. We're going to be looking at a few today. We got a hard stop in about like 15-20 minutes, but I want to rattle off some things so that you guys can be aware of. By the way, I was looking at this chart. I've been seeing the war token around. I never took a look at the chart until today. I've been sick the last few days, so I haven't really gotten a chance to really take a look at anything. But my God, talk about vertical accumulation on this chart. This chart is going absolutely nuts. I'm trying to see if I can like chart a nice little trend line on this or anything. I mean, it's just straight up vertical accumulation, honestly. But this is the a token on Bonk. I guess, Bonk with their, I don't know if you guys saw the latest update with Bonk, but basically Bonk is now redirecting all fees to all creator fees to go and buy back and burn the token. So I don't know if you guys saw that update. But let me show you that. Let me show you guys that here real quick. Introducing the next update to Bonkers. All tokens launched under Bonkers will now automatically use 100% of their creator fees to buy back the token. And basically they say that, this can be, configured in several different ways. So I guess that's why this token here is running, or it could be a reason why, just kind of get some interest, crime up a coin to get some interest back into Bags. There was another token that I wanted to look at. I didn't really know what the token I didn't really know what the token was or anything like that, but it's called Blowfish. And I wanted to just
this is a Agentic Launchpad.
Yeah. I didn't even know what it was. Like I just been so sick. I really haven't been paying attention these last few days, but from a chart perspective, this thing looks absolutely amazing. Yeah,
I
this
faded this one because I saw they had launched and I had plenty of time to get in here early on. The issue was they have like the parent company of this project has another token itself, which
ooh,
is like not doing great and looks pretty much like a farm. So I was like, dual token models never work historically.
they
Maybe
never
the
do.
worst thing you could do. And they have a second token, although unrelated. Like I don't know, dude. I felt like it was too much for me to not bid, so I faded. Maybe clearly a bad idea. We'll see how long this lives on for, but that's a little TLDR and Blowfish.
Yeah, agentic launchpad. Let me real quick just see if I can track anything down on the timeline because I see that this has been coming up. I think Cryptic is in this one, Theo as well, the homie, the Kodak homie is in this one.
I'm seeing some
And
interesting things, Chill. I'm not gonna lie, bro. There are guys that have been pretty much terminally offline since we started this bear market on crypto and crypto. They're coming out of the woodworks for some of these projects, specifically base projects. But you're right. Like
yes,
I'm seeing Theo come out. I'm seeing McSleuth come out. I'm seeing some OG ETH guys come out. Like
yeah.
there are people I haven't seen in a while popping up in my TL, dude.
And what did I tell you guys last week? I literally said, ETH has shaken up their foundation. Vitalik in his recent comments about the L2, and that's shaken the ETH foundation at its core. So now these ETH guys, they're kind of like, all right, well, we got to park this money elsewhere. We see stuff is popping off on base. I don't think ETH guys are going to go, or at least some of them aren't going to go on. They're not going to go to Solana. But they're like, hey, look, base is popping off. Let's, let's see if we can get something going here. But that's why I've also been trading on base. I mean, there's been very nice setups, man. Very nice setups. Stuff moving from like, sub 500K to like, 3 mil. If you're in my Telegram, we caught one of those. So yeah, I like the volume that I'm seeing over there. But coming back to Blowfish really quick. This is just a quick thesis on Blowfish. Basically, just like Dom said, agentic launch pad. But what's the problem that it fixes? Well, traditionally, you need to deploy the token yourself, set up liquidity, provide set up a liquidity pool, provide liquidity, hope people trade it, deal with bot sniping. Blowfish automates all of that and adds some smart mechanics on top. So bonding curves. So first 100 people buy at a penny, next buy at 2 cents, another buy at 4 cents. The price automatically goes up as more people buy. No need for a traditional liquidity pool initially. The curve is the market maker. When someone sells, price goes back down the curve. It's all algorithmic. So you create a token with a bonding curve, you set your parameters, people buy and sell, and so it goes up and down the curve. You're basically collecting fees the whole time. Here's the fee splits. 80% of the fees go to you, 20% goes to the platform. And when your token hits the target market cap, it automatically migrates to a full AMM, so a full DEX, basically a normal Uniswap type of pool. And so why does this matter? Because bonding curves are great for price discovery and early trading, but eventually you want deeper liquidity and integration with the broader DeFi ecosystem. And this is lastly on this, just kind of where the agents come in. We don't have to read this absolute whole article, but the whole system outputs JSON and is designed to be called programmatically. Imagine an agent that can monitor social sentiment, decides to launch a meme coin when it detects trending topics, configure the bonding curve parameters, launch the token, collect fees, all without human intervention. That's actually pretty crazy. I mean, they can monitor sentiment on X and then launch something for a trending, meme, trending topic or what have you, versus it being kind of like sniped or bundled by your average everyday deployers on Pump Fund. So just a little context there on Blowfish, but I kind of like the direction. I'm actually going to bookmark this so I can read up on this a little bit later. But I love the direction that this is going in.
Can I rattle off like 3, 4, 5 updates I have real quick? Just
go for
run
it.
through them.
Yep,
okay,
yep.
sweet. Guys, Tessera Labs is launching very soon. They're out in Hong Kong right now for the Consensus, I believe it is, Solana conference. Tessera Labs, friends of the show, we've had them on plenty of times. They're doing, bringing private equity on chain. Of course, we understand the benefits of that. It's inaccessible unless you're an accredited investor. It's difficult. They are going live with SpaceX today. I believe it is today. So go and sign up. They're going to give it to you at an $800 billion valuation. I'm not sure if you've heard the rumors, but SpaceX is set to IPO $1.5 trillion, and it's currently trading around 1.7 on pre-stocks, X stocks, private markets. So sign up today. You can get whitelisted, and you can get SpaceX at $800 billion valuation. I'm not going to say it's free money. Of course, there's always risks of platform risks and liquidity risks. But Tessera has been working hard, and you'll be able to get SpaceX at $800 billion. So that's pretty much instant 2x to fair value or perceived fair value. So take that how you will. I would say check it out. Tessera Labs launching today. Outside of that, chill. You're a Kelly Claude guy, dude. Kelly Claude's been getting some attention. I'm not sure if you saw the price recently, but
yes, Kelly Claude is going nuts. So I need to dig into Kelly Claude even more so, but basically what I know is that it's running its own company, right? And it's hiring people. It's basically an agent that's doing it's AI running a company all on its own. But I have to read up on it a little bit more than what I have done already, and I'm pretty sure I can get a nice little write up on this one.
I mean,
but I see you have one pulled up.
TLDR, I got a couple for you. TLDR, formerly one employee works for Kelly Claude. Outside of their normal day jobs, there's probably 1 million a year worth of salaried engineers trying to improve Kelly at any given time. When the next Gauntlet cohort kicks in, probably 5x as many people running an experiment with it. So this is one tweet I saw. I also saw, a few of those guys I mentioned, I haven't seen on timeline in a while, tweeting about it. Sized in, for example, he said Kelly Claude is going for it. Nice to see, although I'm not in. Feels like we're repaying the Ralph at Gastown moment, but this time with agents. Very bullish on Kelly. Austin and team have no doubt they're going to track devs, going to crack the code. Excuse me. This is a post from him. A new experiment with slight tweaks to Kelly Claude Software Factory. I mean, it's a whole whiteboard breaking things down. They're showing the flows, how things work. Seasoned team. I don't know. It's just one to watch out for. Do you want to check out a chart on that or something?
Yeah, let me pull up a chart on that real quick. So I have basically on my screener, I have like on multi charts, like the full watch list on base. And let me pull it up real quick. It's loading. Because I can't see it on Mobi, since Mobi's Solana only.
All good.
It's still loading. Give me a sec here.
In the meantime, guys, just go check out the new extension for Mobi that they just released. You can use Mobi on Axiom now and get the smart money analytics and stuff. It's a pretty cool new feature, obviously sponsored of the show. So we have to thank them. I guess I'll also thank presenting partner of the show, Meteora, for always keeping it P, helping us continue the show and our efforts to bring you guys alpha every day. But here's Mobi. We brought Mobi Smart Money Intelligence directly to Axiom. Our initial testing group of Axiom traders say it's a game changer, private access only. DM Mobi extension to apply. We'll be granting access. You guys can DM MCG too. We'll help you get access. Not sure if you'll be able to hear this. So let me reshare real quick, and then we'll get back on the previous topic, boys. Just wanted to drop in here and show this. Again, you get the whole Mobi screener suite inside Axiom, which is really nice. Yeah, there it is. You guys should go send them a DM and test it out. It's extra information, extra alpha to give you that extra edge. So banger. Sorry, Jill. You can maybe continue that conversation on Kelly Claude.
No, you're good. So I have a few things here. So first, Kelly Claude. Again, one of the falling wedges that I was tracking that continue to play out on chain. You can even argue that this was sort of a falling wedge as well, but not even going to get into that right now. From a price action standpoint, purely this looks good. Dips are for buying on this one. And if anyone knows kind of the old OG way that ETH kind of ETH holders they operate, like you have one cohort of buyers that buy sub $1 mil, and then as you get closer to 10 mil, like another cohort of buyers start to step in. Between 10, 20, 25 mil, that's when whales start bidding. They even start bidding as we get closer to 10 mil, the more aggressive ones. But that's literally what you're seeing. You're seeing price. You see price heavily go up, and I dare to say these probably retrace to the 0.786, the 0.786. Let me see. Yep. So we see price continue to like go up, and this has been playing out like literally all the time. Let me actually just, and I haven't tested this. I'm just literally just been noticing this on chain, and I haven't tested it on Kelly Claude, but I'm going to test it here today live. As you can see on our first trip to all-time high, we retrace back to the 0.786. On our next trip to the new all-time high from the previous low, we revisit the 0.786 again. And I don't think we did it this next time around from this previous swing low. We probably visited the golden pocket. Yeah, we touched on the golden pocket a few times. But again, if you're using the fibs to go for entries, like these things play out like clockwork. But that's because of this sort of, I don't want to call it ritualistic, but this this way of buying that happens on Ethereum. It's more organized. There's less like day traders, and there's people still day trading the chart, but I should say there's less Solana Jeets, right? And there's more like capital that actually wants to buy and hold something, especially again with the foundations of ETH kind of shifting. So Kelly Claude is one of them. The other here is Tellerbot. Tellerbot actually looks good under 2 mil. Not sure. Let me just erase this. Let me erase that. But that's pretty much the Tellerbot chart is kind of like vertical accumulation right now, basically. And it might even be breaking that a little bit now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's breaking that just a little bit. But yeah, it's breaking that a little bit, but basically vertical accumulation on this Tellerbot chart here. But Tellerbot is like a layer that's built on top of Banker to automate the deploy of AI agents on Solana and on Base. So basically, an agent is involved or is directing the launching of these different AI agents, and it knows context, so it knows whether to launch on Base or on Solana. And then it also, it does that in such a way that it prevents PvP for, two tokens going after the same agent, right? It prevents that. Felix is another one that's, oh man, look at Banker W is going for it. Felix is another one.
Banker season.
Yeah, like Felix is another one that's looking really good here. Again, another one that probably plays out with the 0.786. First run to all-time high, retraces to 0.786, was a really good buy zone. Right now, it's probably sitting in a golden pocket. If I'm not, yeah, it's sitting in a golden pocket, so it's a really good entry right now. But it's something similar to Kelly Claude. It's an agent that is running its own company. In this case, it wrote a book and it's selling.
They're coming on Thursday, right?
I believe
Wednesday.
I
Thursday?
believe they are. I believe they are. Let me I got to double check our schedule for this week, and we can review that before we close out the stream here today.
Also,
But,
man, let's check out Banker real quick, because we told you guys, buy the picks and shovels. Everyone's searching for gold, looking for the next Felix, looking for the next, Kelly Claude. But the answer is they're all being launched through BankerBot, right? So you buy the picks and shovels, and that gets direct exposure to all of these in a sense, if you think it's going to continue to happen. And I mean, we need to make a post on this because we called this a while back, and it's up pretty significantly, all-time highs.
Yeah, this was like a really obvious setup from the time that this caught a bid down here. You see the change, you see the change in volume, you see the change in the price action before then versus now. This is
The
an
dip to
obvious bid.
39, sub 40 was just free. Just free.
Yeah, free money right there. So a lot of good, again, just a lot of good action happening on Solana. Tokens are
Nice.
respecting levels on charts. Tokens are respecting levels on tools like fib tools. Tokens are respecting trend and supports and stuff like that. Like the price action is just it's awesome. It's good to have. And honestly, another one that we called I didn't even see Banker go up until literally right now. But I'll probably post it in my Telegram right now. But literally in TG, we called this at 700K, 750, 740, something like that. But this is another one, infrastructure. You know, with this infrastructure play here, basically Banker W is a wallet that's built on top of Banker that Deployer, OX Deployer, also is building on. He's building on Tellerbot as well. He's you know, they partnered with Tellerbot as well, but he, and as well as some other ETH Foundation OGs, have also said that this is really good tech, and picked that up. And you know, now it's headed up. Like, I mean, look, people are now kind of doubting base season. They're doubting, you know, the price action. Will prices recover? When people are asking that question, it's a time to position. Usually people ask that question because the price looks like it's dying. Typically price looks like it's dying around the 0.786, right? Like, so that's why this level is like, it just plays out a lot, and it's a key zone because it just, again, you're buying max fear and you're reaping the reward for that. As you can see here on the Banker W chart. So look, Banker's catching a bid. You know, Banker on chain stuff is catching a bid as far as infrastructure is concerned. I'm about to post this chart in the in my Telegram as well. So let me just go ahead and do that. Copy the image and go ahead and post it. Catch my claim my clout. But yeah, dude. I mean, a lot of these charts are playing out on base, and you know, right now on Solana, unfortunately, you know, we don't have that type of volume on Solana. I know last chart that I wanted to look at here was Sol Tomato. You know, I think this chart
coming on tomorrow
has, right? Yep. I think this chart definitely has bottomed. You know, I think that you know, this is one of the devs that have, again, I prioritize the devs that have clout on the timeline. They have, like, you know, the respect of the community. They have the respect of CT and all that good stuff. So, so yeah, look, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah,
we
got to bounce.
We got to bounce, guys.
A lot of good stuff here. Duster's giving us information. Duster's the new base quant, but you're right. Wait for those FOMO guys to sell, and you can just buy the crash. It's good information. There we go. Sorry, went to 700K after hitting 100K. He's like an ember. Unfortunately, guys, have to check it out next stream because we got to run. But all good stuff. You want to pull up schedule for the rest of the week and then leave everyone at that?
Yep. Let me go ahead and pull this up. So here's the schedule. Yesterday we had on CPT, great updates from them. Today we had Probably and Zera on, also launched on Zora. Some Probably was launched on Zora anyway. Great updates there. Zera is expanding into a new vertical, so love to see that. Tomorrow, some, and then there was some alpha from both as well. Yeah, good point there, Dom. And then tomorrow, February 11th, we have Foundry on. Saw their chart was pumping last week. We have EVA coming on tomorrow. That might have been rescheduled to next week though. So we'll get you guys more information on that. And then we have the man DeVito, the Chad himself, that is running the Sol Tomato coin. So again, much respect from the CT community and from crypto in general. So love to see that, and can't wait to have him on tomorrow. And then
also for
Felix,
Thursday, Splat. I forgot to mention that.
Splat. Okay, so we have Splat and Felix coming on. So we got some, you know, some base plays coming on. And then Friday, we're actually trying to lock in a guest for Friday as well. A trader that you guys might be familiar with. They actually made a great call recently. So we'll have them on stream on Friday, get their take on what's happening in the market, where things are headed, and how they're positioning. So that's the stream, guys. We appreciate you guys. Tomorrow, You know, we have like a lot more time to chill. So we'll save the tickers for tomorrow, save a lot of them. And if you shared them, share it again tomorrow. We'll run through everything with you guys, but we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.
Peace out.